thought that was a good joke. That was good. That was very good, Stephanie. Wow.
Hi.
Truly inspired. Hey, it is now slightly after 7 p.m. and no matter where you are in a video store. I'm one of your two clerks, Adam Protextor.
And I'm your other clerk, Stephanie Thoreson.
And this show is a place designed to be a hangout for people who miss hanging out around movies, talking about movies, so we can do it in the digital space during strange times. Thanks for being here, y'all. What up, Pathos? What up, Glowcat? You are the video store. That's the, how are you not yourself? How am I not myself? How am I not myself? You're supposed to... Ryan will get it. We'll bring Ryan on later. We'll do that bit. We actually, on that note, have a special guest. We are in the process of moving, as you know, if you're a regular viewer of this show. And we have a close friend of ours who is a filmmaker. What?
Sorry, Pathos away in the chat with my wife.
Pathos, hold the my wife's until we get through the intro. No, I'm just joking. I don't care. Ryan, God damn it.
Sorry, I totally...
You're not allowed to look at the chat until the intro's over. Okay, so we have a special guest tonight who's going to be joining us from Movie Club, and then he's going to be our third clerk for the next few shows as well during February, because he is living with us. He's a close friend of ours. He's a filmmaker. He's a movie nerd. He's a good dude. And he's going to come on a little bit later towards the end of the show. Okay, that's all I wanted to say. I'm so sorry to be so restrictive. You know what, Stephanie? My wife. There you go.
It's so dumb.
It's not.
It's so dumb that I can't stop giggling at that. I'm calling myself out. I should just really control my...
I don't think it's dumb. I'm sorry for policing your joy.
Wow.
You know, I'm really sorry about that.
You heard it here first.
What up, great job, nerds? Ay. Cool. So, this week I forgot to replace the poster. I think the poster that's up is still Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. That's okay. We'll leave it as that.
Yeah, I think we can leave it as that.
Yeah, we'll be fine. Look, y'all, the movie club pick this week was Grandma's Boy. Last week we got into a discussion about stoner comedies because Steph and I watched
Harold and Kumar,
the first one, which I want to watch the sequels now.
Yeah, totally.
Harold and Kumar feels like a very high watermark, pun intended, for this genre. And we ended up going down the rabbit hole. We talked with y'all. Steph, I think you've been pretty clear about the fact that you're trying to go back and watch a lot of aughts comedies you maybe wrote off.
Yes, 100%. I definitely want to revisit ones that I have seen, ones that I haven't seen, ones that I wrote off, ones that I've never heard of, ones that I've judged. Ones
that the Mandela Effect brought into existence just today. Yeah, there are some movies out there that didn't exist until you became aware of them, because that's quantum physics. We'll get into that later in our fourth news segment, quantum physics. Oh, also, we should totally do your TV segment tonight, too.
Oh, yeah.
I got to set up a proper filter for that. We're in the process of moving, so forgive the fact that we haven't changed a few things that we said we would.
I know. I'm thinking maybe next week or the next few weeks. It's going to be the last time you'll see this iteration of the video store.
Yeah, we have been thinking. We have a space. We're moving to LA. Steph's going to be out there in less than 2 weeks.
Less than 2 weeks. I'll probably have to take... I wonder if I can call in, if we can figure out a way for me to call in, or I might have to take a couple weeks off the stream, but I'm here now.
I just realized that. Maybe Ryan and I.
Oh.
It'll be like, no, but you calling in, I'm just saying Ryan and I in the physical space.
No, I know.
So you replace you. So we typically break the show down into 3 sections. The first section is, what did you watch this week? We want to know what you watched. We'll tell you what we watched. Let's trade recommendations, thoughts, ideas, and just in general riff. Generally, that goes the longest. Mm-hmm. Then we'll do new arrivals, which is what did we get in stock. I have significantly toned down the ordering because we're moving. So we have a few. Well, I did. You
did. Thank you. You did. Now you're at like a normal. Acceptable, socially acceptable flow of media, doorstep media.
Okay, well, when you're a video store, you need to unbox a giant box every week because you got to add to the inventory.
Sometimes I open the door after I hear like the boop, boop.
Oh, that's the
boop, 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 and I'm sitting there going, how many boops? How many boops today?
How many boops today? Boop. One more. So I have toned down the purchasing, even if Steph doesn't agree. It's subjectively fact that it's been toned down. But anyway, we got some fun tapes to unbox. I actually have one really cool bootleg tape that came in the mail from an Instagram account called Left of the Dial that I'm gonna go ahead and find on Insta right now so I can drop their handle in a little bit when we get there. And what else? Oh, and then I have a rare-ish horror tape that I got that I was excited to find. So cool, we'll get there. And then the third act of the show will be Movie Club, where we're going to talk about Grandma's Boy, because our rabbit hole on stoner comedies led us to say, what's your favorite movie of... And we're going to play this, I want to play this again tonight, like pick another random genre.
Yeah.
And get into that. And basically, a lot of people said Grandma's Boy is one of their favorite stoner comedies, so we made it our movie club pick. We watched that. We'll talk about that in the third act. But we, see, I think the opening part of the show tonight, we haven't discussed, so I'm going to throw this at you.
Okay.
We only watched 2 movies this past week.
Yes.
Anchorman?
Yes.
And Grandma's Boy. So we really only have Anchorman to talk about. Now, I actually really do want to know your thoughts because it had been a long time for you. I also think there's a really interesting comparison there.
I would agree with that.
We can get into that.
Yeah.
But since we have so little, we really want to know what y'all watched. Maybe we'll try and throw some recommendations. And we're also going to ask the chat. Here's what I wanted to do again this week. Ask the chat another subgenre. What is your favorite of a certain genre? And then we'll go off on there. And the final thing I want to let everyone know at the beginning is that February. It's Black History Month. We really want to spotlight black filmmakers and black films this month on the show. So we're going to try and keep our movie club and staff picks in that world throughout February. So, you know, if you there's a lot out. The thing is, a lot of the great films by black filmmakers in American history never got the proper release or distribution or zeitgeist love that their contemporaries did. So if you know something that you're like, oh, this is a really slept on movie that no one knows about, we would love to watch that. So cool beans. He's a boss. I don't know. I can only assume that's in reference to Ryan. What state does Jaws take place in? Maine? Amity. It's Amity Island. Is it Maine?
Florida.
I want to say New York. It is New York. New Jersey. Okay. Florida. Jaws. Yeah, it takes place in the city of Jaws, Florida, I believe. I believe it takes place in the city of Universal Studios, Los Angeles, California. I know it's Amity. I know that's how I learned the word Amity. Jaws. Fantastic movie that I mean, that's saying it lightly. Jaws is a masterpiece. I only recently kind of put 2 and 2 together that it was a 4th of July movie, and I think we watched it instead. The first year I haven't watched Independence Day in years.
That's true.
We did Jaws instead. Oh, Glow Cat, nice. And I'm wearing the Do the Right Thing shirt. That is a very intentional shirt because the only reason that I bought this is because I became aware of it because of our guest clerk who's going to be joining us. He sent me the link.
And I have a shirt.
Oh, yeah, you just got to show off your new shirt.
I did actually just get this shirt.
It came in the mail today. Speaking of packages, today was the first day you got a package and I didn't.
It's true.
It was this.
Oh, my God.
Your cool-ass shirt.
Can't believe it.
Is that true, Pathos? I don't think that's true. But if it is, that's one crazy coinky-dink.
Sharkville.
I love Sharkville.
Right next to the Shark Tank. Don't.
I am wearing a shirt today. Oh, Benit's playing trivia on another screen and using us to cheat.
Oh my God! Please, Benit, use us to cheat all.
Throw it all over here.
Yes.
I wish that we could get you in on a Zoom. I don't know how to do this right now, but I wish we could Zoom you in and have you screen share the trivia so that we could just play for you.
Speaking of sharing, y'all start dropping in the chat what you watched this week, because we have such a light load, and I feel like both of them we're kind of gonna save for the movie club. I feel like it'd be weird. Well, I guess we could talk about Anchorman, but I just feel like there's.
No, I talk enough.
I feel like that. I feel like there is such a comparison there. We sort of, anyways, we talked about it last night.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. I agree with. I think. Sorry, I wasn't trying to cut you off. I know you're gonna say the comparison's there, but I also think that maybe before we get into comparative territory, you could just share what your first blushes of Anchorman were after so long. New York was correct. Spontaneous Combustion, Firestorm, Grandma's Boy, and Link to Film, the first episode of Freddy's Nightmares. Did you pick Glowcat? Did you pick up that bootleg Blu-ray of Freddy's Nightmares? Because I think I might have to do that. I am a huge Freddy fan. I've never seen that show. Spontaneous Combustion, Firestorm. So are those? I feel like Glowcat always comes with the. I always Google Glowcats. Because you're always coming with the deep cuts. Okay, obviously I need to add the word movie to this search. Because it's just... 1990 horror sci-fi. Toby Hooper. See, this is a perfect example, Glowcat and Stephanie, of a movie that Mandela Effect didn't exist. Because how the hell am I just learning that there's a Toby Hooper movie called Spontaneous Combustion?
It looks pretty rad.
It does look pretty rad. Wow. Cool beans. Looks like there's a Blu-ray from Spain. Oh, I'm going to have to backburner that one. No ordering.
Backburner.
Didn't pick it up. Had some files sitting on a hard drive for years. And Firestorm. Firestorm, I think I do know. I think I can see the cover of Firestorm in my head. Again, I need to add the word movie.
Ooh, y'all, my mayo well is extra spicy tonight.
Is it?
It is. It's really gingery. Would you like to try it?
Howie Long is this guy's name. I haven't seen Firestorm. I remember this cover so well from not just like not really from video stores I was at, but as a kid, 1998. I remember this being on the new release wall, and I just never rented. I wasn't into like fire. I wasn't into like natural disaster.
Backdraft or
never saw Backdraft, Volcano, Dante's Peak. I never saw anything with like fire disasters.
I don't think I did either.
Let me try this.
Try it out.
Oh, that's good.
Right?
Yeah, that's tasty. Okay, cool. Word Glowcat, thank you for that. I like to categorize that like don't. Nice. Okay. I love the way you break down movies, Glowcat. You have a gift for the pithy explanation.
Yeah, that's a really nice, straightforward. I like that Firestorm breakdown. 90% boring, 10% the raddest shit.
Pathos watched Major Pain, A Few Good Men, Grandma's Boy, and Smoke. Is Smoke the Harvey Keitel movie? Major Pain I haven't seen since childhood.
Me neither.
Kendrick Lamar's got a great bar about Major Pain.
Oh, yeah?
I'm not going to look it up. It's good. A Few Good Men is one I've never seen.
Me neither.
Yeah, maybe we should watch that. That'd be a fun one.
I feel like that was on our Q shelf for a while. Do you have that?
I don't.
Oh.
Pathos, you got to keep us on track for catching all the stuff from the 90s we missed. Hey, Smiles. What up? Good to have you here. Thank you for being here, Smiles. Gaming with Smiles. Y'all, I know Smiles. He's an exceptional dude. Go check out his channel and throw him a subscription. Been watching the Jim Henson show Dinosaurs from the 90s. Never saw it as a kid, but saw commercials. So I watched this intermittently as a kid.
I did as well.
The last episode of this is the most harrowing, depressing...
Oh, well, should we know spoilies?
No, okay. Well, I mean, I don't want to spoil it. Let's just say that you know that there aren't dinosaurs on Earth now.
Yeah.
And the show provides an explanation for its series finale. Explains that, and it's a legendary series finale. The show's fantastic, though.
Existentially, like just crushingly terrifying.
Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, can I tell you what? Speaking of freaky dinosaur stuff.
Yeah, leaning in.
Speaking of freaky dinosaur stuff. No, the son on Dinosaurs.
Yeah. You got a crush on him.
No. His mohawk.
Freaked you out?
Freaked me out.
Me too.
And you know what it okay, if anyone knows if this is like a phenomenon or some kind of phobia that I'm not aware of that actually has a name, it's similar to the way that I feel when I see the when we were going into the Grinch, talking about the Grinch and the fingers. It's like the long, where it just kind of tapers off into this flittery,
like feathery phalanges.
Yes, and
feathery phalange phobia.
Yeah, and then it's the same thing with his mohawk because it's just sort of floppy.
I know, I don't like it either. But I will say it's funny that existentially horrifying is what we're using to describe that show, because for the rest of that show, it's such a great achievement to do a classic American working class sitcom and to have it entirely puppets and to take all the visual gags from Flintstones and that was around the same time that the live action Flintstones came out. Mm-hmm. So like the mid 90s were like a gold mine for people who wanted to watch funny replacements of household appliances done with prehistoric puppet creatures. If that was your thing, you had it left and right in like 1995. Great show. I think that's also Dinosaurs is where Brian Henson. I'm probably wrong. I actually don't know how old Brian Henson is, but I feel like he cut his teeth working on that show.
Now, my mind is blanking on the theme song for that show.
It goes, dinosaurs, dinosaurs, they're here and they're kinda sore. That means angry because they know they're gonna go extinct.
Is that real?
No.
I was like, I don't remember that at all.
No, the theme song, I don't remember the theme song either, but
because they're gonna go extinct.
The title sequence of Dinosaurs is, it's like Evil Dead style tracking shot through the woods.
And he's dong.
Yeah, and you're knocking over the trees, and it looks like the Evil Dead spirit cam.
Yeah.
And then it cuts and it returns, and it reveals that it's just our lovable John Goodman from Roseanne as a dinosaur.
Can we look it up?
Yeah, we can totally look it up. We can't play it on the stream, though. We'll get muted.
Just play soft.
Okay, moving on. Great job, nerds. Watch 310 to Yuma. Original or remake, Vineet? I have only seen the remake myself. Life of Pi. I love Life of Pi.
I went to see Life of Pi in theaters on a first date. It was the first date where the seat warmer was on and I didn't know it, and I thought I pooped my pants.
In the car?
Yep. I was on a date. We went to see Life of Pi.
Can you rewind that and tell that story?
Sure, yeah. It was at the Draft House. It was a first date. We went to see Life of Pi. Neither one of us knew that, going in, that it was going to be so like religious, I guess, or religious leaning.
It's a spiritual movie.
It's a very spiritual movie, but I guess where we were at in life, maybe it wasn't like whatever. Anyways,
you were feeling that rebellious.
Yeah, we were like, what are we getting ourselves into? Well,
right, I get you.
Anyways, so we just decided we would order a bunch of beer and like eat dinner there, and then whatever. And so I like snacked on just fried food and beer for the whole movie, and then I went to get in his car so we could drive down the street to a bar and keep the date going or whatever. And I didn't realize he had his seat warmers turned on, because I don't date men with seat warmers in their car.
You don't.
Yeah, seat warmer. I was sitting there and I was like, oh my god, why is my seat feeling so warm? It's like, and it was like leathered. It was like kind of
like a cloudy leather,
and I was like, oh no. And I really truly thought I was pooping my pants.
That's amazing. That's such a good story.
And I just was like, okay, I don't like. surely that's not what's happening, whatever. And then when I got to the bar, I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom. It's just like, a thing. Well,
I have a much different experience watching Life of Pi.
Didn't poo my pants.
I bought Life of Pi on Blu-ray because, one, I like Ang Lee a whole lot. The Ice Storm is one of my favorite movies. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Brokeback Mountain. I'm a big fan of Ang Lee. I really like Ang Lee's Hulk, actually. Maybe over the summer we'll have a summer blockbuster week and we can get into stuff like that. But I had just gotten a PS3. Back in the day, used to go to Walmart after midnight with my friend Max, who was my roommate at the time. We'd always go on Monday nights after midnight to see what the new release movies were. I bought Life of Pi because it was Ang Lee and I'd heard it was visually beautiful. And it was visually beautiful. It was a wonderful first Blu-ray experience. But it was, for me, a big example of something I went to for the style and got substance I wasn't anticipating. Mm-hmm. I really earnestly love this movie because I think that its spirituality is open in the sense that it invites you to interact with its theories however you choose to.
Yeah, it's definitely one that I need to rewatch under different circumstances.
I feel that. I would love to rewatch that with you. I'm a big, like I said, big Ang Lee fan.
I love that. So, sorry we went off on a little tangent there.
No, I mean, stories about pooping your pants. I just want to say, great job, nerds. Your list here is like all hits. Life of Pi, Fury Road, Black and Chrome, Spring Breakers. We'll get to Grandma's Boy. Fury Road, Black and Chrome. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Yep. It's the best movie of the past decade. And I don't mean Mad Max Fury Road. I mean specifically Mad Max Fury Road Black and Chrome Edition. I could pontificate for a long time about why I think it's so important, but I will say what I've said before. That movie reduced to its black and white components is nothing but motion and silhouette. And to me, that is the purest, most original essence of cinema, of the movies. And I think it is a masterclass in the film format as a medium for storytelling. As a purely visual exercise, that movie is so good. Spring Breaker. Have you seen Spring Breakers?
No.
Look at all my shit. That's what I always think of in Spring Breakers. Is James Franco's riffraff character. Spring Breakers is a really wonderful satire that was very misunderstood, I think. It starts as like this shallow, it's kind of like Hostel. I'm going to make this weird comparison. Both Spring Breakers and Hostel begin with a very like hedonistic, we're young, let's get drunk, let's get laid sort of vibe. And they're both off-putting because of the pure hedonism. And when you start watching both of them, you're like, everyone is a douchebag. What is this? Spring Breakers is no exception. It's like the worst images from Spring Break. But just as Hostel...
Stop Padre!
Exactly. Just as Hostel does a flip and decides that in its second half, it is going to explore the idea, what if these men's bodies were used by other men and the way they use women... and kind of gets into the politics of bodies and capitalism in a really smart way, I think. So does Spring Breakers get into really the same thing, except it's about girls Breaking Bad instead. Really cool movie.
Yeah, that sounds really fun. It seems like kind of, under the umbrella of the type of film we've been.
Yeah, and it's
watching.
Harmony Korine. It's Gummo guy.
Oh,
like it's like American indie darling, and it looks like it's a made for college comedy. I think it threw a lot of people.
Kind of what I assumed. It sounds like one of those movies that maybe the studio or the distributors cut the trailer in a way to make it look like that to entice.
Oh yeah, I think maybe the director wanted that too, though, because I feel like that. I mean, Harmony Korine's a provocateur. I feel like he's very much the kind of person who's like, get the douchebags in here and then fuck with them.
Yeah, I like that. I like the, what's that called?
Double bait and switch.
Bait and switch. I was gonna say catch and release, and I was like, that is not it.
Hey, while we're on the topic, does anyone else have an idea of does anyone have a bait and switch moment in a movie that they really loved? Like, let's try and keep these to older movies, just because there's probably some spoiler element. But if there's a moment where you thought a movie was one thing and it turned out to be another, I know that you haven't seen it. I know that Vineet likes it. I'll say Wolf Creek has a great bait and switch. No spoilers. It does. That's all I'll say. I'll also say that Wanted, the movie Wanted, I think looks like a big dumb action movie. I was not prepared for how the ending throws the middle finger at the audience. Some people hate that. I thought it was very fun.
Fun. Okay, let's see. Glowcat loved Major Payne as a kid.
I was so scared when he broke the kid's finger.
You know what?
That's all I remember from that movie.
I had such a visceral reaction when you just said that. I like choked on my saliva. I was like, oh, I remember that really freaking me out. I'm thinking like, that's not okay.
Violence. Violence.
Okay, did we talk about Wedge watching Dark Knight and Grandma's Boy?
Dark Knight Rises? No, we did not.
Sorry.
Wedge, I put on the Dark Knight Rises a few weeks ago. So maybe something's in the air, or maybe it's just that Hulu put it on both of our front pages. But I put it on a few weeks ago, and I put it on way too late. I fell asleep like 40 minutes in, but I was really digging it, and I didn't love it that much in theater. So I'm excited to rewatch that too.
That's fun. I think maybe we zipped past, maybe this is a bit, but Glowcat, do you really have a zine article coming out?
There's a Video Vagrants zine coming out.
Oh, that's cool.
I may have missed the deadline. I really like writing about movies and might try to throw something in there, but in any case, I'm going to get one and read it.
Cool.
We'll get one and show it off on the show.
Oh, I love that. Perfect.
Yeah, there was an open call for submissions. It was just this week's been so insane. I haven't even mentioned it. But yeah, I'm excited to read anything you write. Glowcat.
That reminds me, I did have another new arrival this week. I guess it's so funny because I don't think about new arrivals unless they directly relate to film, and I don't think about it as like artists and media because I got my zine and my hat from the agenda, and I was like,
you want to show off your hat?
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, we should. We'll have time it. Corey, yeah, the dinosaurs ending. Actually, one of my best friends from high school, his Twitter banner right now is the news broadcast from the end of Dinosaurs. Watch out, Wedge, like salad fingers. You remember salad fingers?
Yes. What is that? Can someone like put a name to that?
Well, Pathos said maybe ichnophobia, which is a fear of sharp protruding things, but I don't think it's about sharpness.
No, it's about things that should have form and aren't solid.
I think there's like there's like a word when say you were to see like a little girl and she would say hi, but she would speak with the voice of a grown man. There's a disconnect there that makes you uncomfortable. And there's a word for that sonically, like a misalignment, and I don't know what it is, but it sounds like maybe it's that, like, your brain knows a finger should be this long. So if it's this long, you're like, something's wrong. It's instinctual. Yeah,
I think it's definitely something like that. I mean, there are so many weird phenomena like that I feel like do not have words to go along with them. Like the sensation, I have been trying to figure out, and if anyone knows, please drop it in the chat. The sensation the specific feeling of like picking up a box and thinking it's going to be heavy and it's light and you go, whoa, or you like take a sip of liquid and you think it's water, but it's like 7-Up or something. And you're like, oh, it's like that weird synapse that fires in that moment.
There's a word for that. There's a word for that.
There is?
Yeah. It's oopsies. Dino saucers. Okay, I want to scroll through a little bit and catch up. Okay, Glowcat did not know that they retained creative control of that sitcom and went out where they wanted to. That is the dream. I mean, we're developing a sitcom right now, and that is the dream. Remake. 310 was great, focusing on the script because Friend really loves a script. Life of Pi was gorgeous, loved it all over. Pathos' butt is on fire.
I think that was in reference.
I know.
To my butt.
Fury Road because best movie ever. Spring Breakers, crazy energy. Photography, yes, it is such a beautiful Technicolor mess, that movie. I gotta say, regrets.
No regrets. Weirdly, I feel like I want Spring Breakers to be on my watch list this week.
Spring Breakers kind of kicks ass. It's really unexpectedly dope. Yeah, and I feel the same way, Wedge. Just to circle back to Hostel, I definitely remember thinking. And actually, I used to recommend Hostel to people at the video store because people would come in and they would say what I thought, which is, this is like a bro-y torture porn movie. I can't watch that. It's like just a Saw 3. And I was like, no. I thought that too. But it actually, like, Hostel and Hostel 2, yes, contains scenes of extremely terrifying, like, torture, but it's not there to titillate you. It's legitimately there to horrify you, and it is serving a metaphorical purpose and making a point, and I think pretty smart. I think there's a big difference between shocking to get a rise out of people and shocking to point something out, and I think Hostel in particular does what I think there's a great tradition in horror of doing with things like Last House on the Left comes to mind, where you get the audience so raw that you basically turn them into the monster. So by the end of the movie, you've given your audience this bloodlust that they didn't go in with. And the movie, I think that's a valid artistic statement to leave people feeling, to leave people facing their own inner darkness. And I think Hostel does that by making you so scared that once you get that chance for revenge, you become terrible.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting line to toe there of, like, you know, shocking, violent imagery and what purpose it plays or, you know, lack thereof.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I had to look up Unmasked Part 25.
I'm actually like, what is this?
The Hand of Death 25, 88 British slasher, written and produced by Mark Cutforth, horror film and parody of Friday the 13th.
I was about to say,
yeah,
because looky loo.
Dang. Yeah.
That looks fun.
It does look fun. I'm going to leave these tabs open so we don't forget them. Yeah, Hostel 2 Wedge, I think, is... so Hostel 2 is girl protagonists instead of boy protagonists. And it's...
So Hostel 2 is girl protagonists instead of boy protagonists?
Well, I said girls, then I didn't want to say men, because they're all young. They're all girls and boys.
Just fucking with you.
And then in the second one, it's really scary, and it's super scary. The first one is definitely about men using bodies. The second one is about money and capitalism and how it corrupts everybody. And definitely has gender politics at play in a huge way. A little on the nose, but I think it's good. First one's the best. Vinegar Syndrome. I just need to cruise Vinegar Syndrome's sales more, TBH.
Yeah,
Nice.
You kind of go off on tangents for a while and get sort of tunnel visioned.
Oh, are we going there live? I do.
Just in.
No, I get excited about going down a path, but Vinegar. Well, the thing with Vinegar Syndrome is we got some cool discs from them for Black Friday, and then we just got sucked into life and stuff. But you're right. I do like to go on those paths. I do. You do too.
Criticism.
I think didn't we both bond at some point over the fact that when we were in college, we used to go to the video store and like watch through one director at a time?
Yes. Obsessively. Like, I had at the time, it was right after college, and I was living in like a house in Austin for the first time. I had a terrible roommate, and I would just lock myself in the bedroom. And I also would have, like, weirdly, I guess I was like in a transitional, anyways, whatever. I'd have a lot more free time on my hands. And I would sometimes go to the Vulcan Video down south.
Shout out Vulcan Video, rest in peace.
I would go to Vulcan Video like sometimes 3 times a day.
Dang.
I think that was my
incredible.
record was three. It was typically once or twice a day I would go, or every 2 days. But I remember one day I went 3 times.
That's awesome. That's rad. Well, that's what we're here. You know, I do. Sorry for the burp.
Wow.
I need to develop a beer that doesn't make me burp.
Speaking of Shark Tank.
There you go. Nice callback. I think I do definitely get tunnel vision with, but I think that I get weirdly not panic buyer, but I have experienced that thing where you're trying to like complete a collection and then something goes out of print and becomes hundreds of dollars and you're like, no. So when I start to follow that thread, I typically pull it all the way before I move on. But when it comes to the Vinegar Syndrome stuff, I just need to check out their stuff more because, to be honest, I write a lot of it off as like, this is going to be a beautiful box and I'm not going to like the movie that much. And I'm going to spend $30 on a movie I don't dig that much. So I think what I need to do is just take recommendations from friends like Glowcat and go for those, because the few that I got from the Black Friday sale they've all been great so far. And they were all recommendations from other people or stuff I already knew I was going to dig.
Yeah.
I guess that just applies to buying literally anything. Vet it before you get it. No,
Vet it and forget it.
Blind buys are fun. So, okay, people hate Unmasked for its bait and switch. And sometimes the bait and switch can be... Sometimes the bait and switch can be a total storytelling cop-out. Remember how after Sixth Sense came out, which is 1999, we got like 7 or 8 different thrillers in the aughts. They were all like, turns out the main character's the killer, or turns out the main character split. It was like Fight Club and Sixth Sense, both came out in 1999. Studios were convinced twists are what people wanted. I do think there's a difference between a twist and a bait and switch. A bait and switch, I feel like, can manipulate your audience in a way that keeps them invested, whereas a twist is a gimmick that you're going to lose or attach people with. And the reason the twist in Fight Club works is because it makes the satire whole. The reason the twist in Sixth Sense works is because it all makes incredible sense from an empathetic character standpoint. But then you get stuff like Secret Window and Hide and Seek and all those random thrillers that everyone was putting out in the aughts. The double identity stuff. That was a real theme at that time. I personally have a theory that part of the reason that we as a culture started exploring multiple personalities 1999 onward is because, and I'm going to say the same thing I've said a million times on this show, because the internet. Because as we've for sure. You can look up old episodes on youtube.com/babylion. I recommend our Slasher Week episode. We really go into 90s techno, humanism and body horror and the fear of technology changing us. But I do think that in the aughts, there's especially this genre cycle for split personalities as a horror thing, because we are starting to split ourselves. We're starting to become an online person and a real person, and where the boundaries go. I think that is the creeping vibe. Now, not all those movies did that well, but I do think that's maybe where that comes from. That's throwing that out there. Thank you, Pathos, on the drop.
Thank you, Pathos.
Alley oop.
Swoosh.
Swoosh boom shakalaka.
I wonder if there's going to be like a resurgence of that, like or a different type of that sort of horror, techno horror. Now that we're sort of hitting another wall with people, either with social media.
See, okay, so last night, I got into this, I wouldn't even call it a debate, just a back and forth of ideas about social media marketing and the idea of having to be good at the internet to be able to create art. And people, it's definitely a back and forth of the contingent that's yes, we should change this, we should make it more accessible, and the contingent of people who are that's the market, the market decided. I think that, and we talked about this earlier, it kind of forces us into this false binary, and personally I think that false binary is going to break. I guess what I'm getting at is, great point.
No, I mean, I think, speaking of great points, Glowcat was saying, isn't that what Black Mirror is? I have to be really honest. I only watched a couple of episodes of Black Mirror because I think it was episode 2 gave me such an intense panic attack that I was like, I don't think I can watch this show, because it was too real. Too real for me, because I am a person who's been afraid of technology and phones and the internet since they came into my life.
Distrustful.
Yes.
I think that is Black Mirror. And sorry, I had to refresh because I didn't see those comments. It is what M. Night Shyamalan was so popular, first of all, and it's why Unbreakable so underappreciated, because he wasn't giving people what they wanted from him. Black Mirror, I think it's right on the money. Everything is changing, and that's scary. But I do think that Black Mirror necessarily is almost a precursor, because Black Mirror is commenting on the changes that are happening very explicitly. It is saying, we're connected to internet in this way. What if the worst case thing happened? We're connected to our social media clout. What's the worst? Which, by the way, I just want to throw Black Mirror under the bus really quickly for that star rating episode with Bryce Dallas Howard, which is a ripoff of an incredible Community episode called Meow Meow Beans, which is the same plot but has Tim Heidecker in it. Anyway, I think Black Mirror is commenting on it in like a academic sense. It's saying like, here's what's going on, let's talk about it. But I think in terms of, but these movies, like movies that have twists, they're not commenting on the fact that the internet's there. They're just a symptom of a internalized anxiety that's happening because the internet's there. So I think, to Stephanie, to your point, I don't think, like, yes, I do, to Glowcat's point, yes, I do think we'll see more stories that comment on it and call it out like that. But I almost think people got tired of Black Mirror because they didn't want to see it described. They wanted to see it told. And I think what you're describing is the telling of it. And yes, I do think that we're going to go off in two directions. I do think our relationship with the internet is kind of fracturing and changing, and that we're ending up with a refocusing on human, not flashed up, very grounded, character-driven stories. That is a huge movement in indie film right now. Besides the budgetary reasons, I think people are actually... I think the reason is because our generation of people who grew up before internet are circling back around to the values of the real world. But I also think at the same time we are going to get horror that explores the loss of self to the whole in a very like Borg way, or in a very like, I mean, nanotech horror within 5 years for sure.
Yeah, and I think, to Great Job Nerds' point here, I think that the first episode was maybe the only one I watched. And okay, so if it's the one where they're sort of jogging and everything is, you know, sort of is that the one I'm talking, where you just like you react instead of like hitting a button? You're like, you make a facial expression and then it registers, and that's how you react on social media.
I don't know. I thought the first episode was the...
Oh, that's the one with the pig. Right?
Oh, fuck that episode. That was such a stupid episode of TV. I'm sorry. I try not to talk shit on things. I hated
Ouchie.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But it does look like...
The pig fucking one?
It does look like Great Job Nerds is saying, rolled my eyes more and more at Black Mirror these days, which I think actually is kind of what you're talking about, or what...
Oh, yeah, culturally.
Yeah.
I'm just saying culturally, like, we comment on something, but then, like... People, it's, I mean, honestly, look at this pandemic. At first, everyone is commenting, wear your mask, be safe. And then eventually people get tired of saying that because they're describing reality. So then you start to see memes about it instead. That's how we deal with it. But I think that with Black Mirror, yeah, describing it up to a certain point. But I think, to your point, we are just going to see the body horror. And I'm sorry to... I got so viscerally mad at that episode.
I gotta say, I skipped that episode.
So I thought you said, when you said first episode, I thought you meant the memory one where the couple is like remembering having sex with each other.
I saw that one, and I saw the one with the creepy, the jogging and the thing, and then those were the two, and I was like, you know what?
I don't remember.
I think I'm good. Maybe I'll revisit this in another date.
I think I've seen 4 episodes total. I did not really ever like get into it, but when the first season was out, we had some friends. Great Job Nerds and I had some mutual friends who. Great Job Nerds and I had some mutual friends who really loved it. And pig fucker. See, okay, I did not mean to like yuck your yum. It's a rule on this show not to be dicks to each other. I'm sorry for that visceral reaction. I love the memory implants episode. The pig fucker one, remember earlier tonight's stream I was saying like, don't shock me just to shock me. I very much felt that episode of Shock Me just to shock me. And it is the reason I didn't keep watching the show. Well, maybe I'll rewatch. I mean, we don't always agree, Great Job Nerds, but I do think you have fantastic... I mean, I do respect your taste and think you have fantastic taste. And it has been several years, so maybe I owe it a rewatch. At the time, I was very resentful of the premise of that episode. Well, maybe we'll watch some more Black Mirror.
I don't even know the premise. I just know people were like, maybe skip it, maybe watch it.
I think the basic premise is that...
And I didn't have... What was it on? HBO or whatever?
No, it was BBC America at first.
So I couldn't watch it unless I was at my friend's house, and I was hardly ever over there. So it was sort of like, if they were watching it, I was like, okay.
Our friends bootlegged the first 6 episodes, and they were obsessed with those first ones before it got Netflixed and got big.
Netflixed and killed. And
Netflixed and killed. And that's good. Anyway, I just think to your point about do you think we'll see techno horror? Yes, but I don't think it's going to look exactly like it did in the 90s. But I do think that's a really smart observation for two reasons. One, it's been 20 years since 1999. It's going to come back.
20-year cycle, baby.
Exactly. And two, the threats we're being faced with now are existential. But I think that are existential and technological. But I don't think we're going to see like the same sort of body horror technology, because I think people don't feel as though their bodies are being compromised. I think people feel their minds are being compromised.
Climate change horror.
So I don't like, I think in the 90s, the body horror aspect is very much like there's new technology that can go in my body. And I think that that is the morphing of the flesh. I think we're going to get next is mind-based horror. I haven't seen Brandon Cronenberg's Possessor yet. Has anyone seen that? Because I feel like that is along the mind route. Anyway, I think that we're going to see a lot more horror about like existential conflict of self. Who am I really? Because I think that is the essential issue that everyone struggles with is who am I online? Who am I in real life? Etc.
Well, also, I was kind of saying like tongue-in-cheek climate change horror, but the bees one, Watch Out Wedge says, maybe that is climate change horror. Anyways.
Oh, sorry. No, go off.
Oh, I have nothing to go off on. I have no idea what that's in reference to. I just was sort of saying flippantly like climate change horror because that's like the scariest shit we're facing right now. And it sounds like maybe there was an episode of Black Mirror where there's...
Hear me out. I don't think climate change is going to be explored through horror. I think it's going to be explored more through sci-fi. And we saw that with Interstellar. Interstellar's whole premise. Well, the whole premise is that they got to save Earth because they can't grow anything anymore. Mm-hmm. Dinosaurs. That's an environmentalist horror story. No, it's technology.
Well, actually.
Oh, okay. Warhammer 40K movie, that's right, and the tickets to it are going to be $3,000 each. That's a joke for you, Pathos. I hope you dug that joke. It's an expensive game to play. You have to collect a lot of minifigures. Ooh. Okay, cool. I'll check it out. I think honestly, I want to be open-minded. I owe some Black Mirror episodes a fair shake. Climate change horror, now you're making me think what climate change horror, like, because all I'm thinking of is The Happening.
I'm just thinking, like, what if there was, like,
pitch, baby, pitch.
Angry oil workers who have been I don't know. I'm just thinking because, Biden's coming out with all this new stuff about, clean energy and sort of the trajectory of that. And it's very much about taking these people who are very stuck in their ways in middle America and saying, no, I promise you you'll have financial aid and training and we can relocate your family if necessary, and sort of this push and pull and this back and forth. And that just seems like perfect area to think about, like angry, bitter, violent men. See, I think angry, bitter, violent men have been the villain of horror for a long time. Mm-hmm. But also, Watchmen did that really well. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe horror is not the right.
Well, no, with
genre lens to think about that through. I don't know.
I think that environmentalism. I think the reason we're so bad at environmentalism and saving the planet is because it's such a big thing that our minds can't wrap it around. I think that's why it's difficult to script. But I do think, to your point about like culture clashes and people hanging on to the past and the angry bitterness of that, I think we're definitely going. I mean, I think we've already seen some, like The Purge. We've already the Crazies with George Romero.
We've got a mind meld here with Great Job Nerds and Pathos on The Day After Tomorrow.
But again, that's like The Day After Tomorrow's right after An Inconvenient Truth comes out, and it's like top of mind, and then people are like, okay, don't lecture me, fun genre movie. Mm. So you're telling a genre movie, you got to trick people into it. So I think, honestly, your way, like the Watchmen way, Watchmen explores that culture clash so well. Mm-hmm. But I think that like George Romero's The Crazies also does this in an interesting way. Like honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some remix on. I don't think people want zombie movies again. I think we got our fill in the aughts. But I do think that there is some sort of a fear of the mob horror movement coming. I think you're right on up there. The Day After Tomorrow is one of my favorite movies to watch during the winter if I'm home for the holidays when it's snowy outside. I love it. It's Roland Emmerich. I love it.
I've only seen it once. I remember when it first came out on DVD, my roommate at the time bought it, and she ran out of her bedroom crying. And she was like, "Are we going to be swallowed up by tsunamis?" And I was like,
probably.
I was like, "Angela, take a deep breath. Probably yes. Let's sit down and have some water." And she was like, "Oh, I didn't know." And I was like, "How do you not know?" I mean, this is obviously not a representation of the actual future, but
that movie's fun. Lenticular cover on that DVD.
Lenticular.
I had to say it for you.
We've got to get a tally for how many times you say lenticular.
The thing is, I only use it to refer to things that are lenticular.
Lenticular covers.
Yes.
Well,
Gaming with Smiles.
We have a lot of lenticular items in this house.
We actually don't.
Yes, we do.
Find
Compared
one.
to the average person.
Where? I guarantee you Glowcat's got lenticular tape nearby. Smiles, I agree, horror about things going on inside of you will be big, especially with the pandemic. The fear comes from the fact that you can't see the threat. Yes. I think that like that is it's like nervous system anxiety. It's not like the Quato, Paul Verhoeven, or early Cronenberg, like Videodrome, my body's morphing. It's like, is the essential me dying? Am I becoming something that I don't recognize?
Yeah, totally. First of all, Glowcat, yes, they have a lenticular tape nearby, of course. I really love Wedge saying the agoraphobic movies. Yes, for sure. I highly doubt, but, well, I shouldn't say that. Maybe. Did anyone here read The Woman in the Window? Because I read that at the beginning of quarantine, and I've been waiting for that movie to come out.
Oh, yeah, they adapted it and they held it, right?
It's been on hold because of it. It was supposed to come out right before the quarantine hit, and everything kind of went nuts. And then they were trying to figure out distribution, and this was before new releases were really like being, this new thing that we're all discovering together, with new releases being actually put out on streaming. Before HBO was like, you know what, let theaters die. I know, right? It's really sad, but I'm also like, put this movie on. I've been waiting for a year. Been waiting for a year. Almost.
You're going to get that movie.
Did anyone read that book?
It was written by the Gone Girl woman?
It's in the same genre. It's compared stylistically to.
There's a quote on the cover comparing it, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I remember.
Yes, and it also Stephen King is also like, this is a twisty turny. It's great. It's great, and the lead character, the narrator, unreliable narrator, I will say, is an agoraphobic.
Unreliable narrator. Spoilers.
No, it's not at all. She's a complete alcoholic with a cocktail of pills that she doesn't take correctly, and she's an agoraphobic woman living alone, and it's, anyways, I love a good thriller. I'm a sucker for a good thriller.
I know, we gotta have some thrillers
and a mystery.
You're making me want to rewatch Rear Window.
I know. Oh, maybe that should be our one of our genre picks.
Yeah. Well, we kind of dipped into political paranoia. We did a little cycle with Clute and Parallax and all that.
Yeah.
Really quickly, I want to address, yes, first of all, Smiles is correct, and I'm loving the Muppets love because I love the Muppets.
Oh, we love the Muppets. This is a Muppet house.
So just do this for the rest of the stream. Love the Muppets, and also, yes, the weather in Day After Tomorrow is insane. There's one part where they're running through a library being chased by the cold temperature.
Yeah, and it's like freezing.
Yeah, and then they go behind a door and it like tries to get through the door.
Sentient icebergs.
Oh boy. I would love to get into that paranoia. Like, what is a good way? Like,
how many times do you think that you've said, what kind of movie do you want to watch tonight? And I go, I don't know, like a mystery, thriller.
There's every night.
Like every week.
Every day.
Not every day.
No, I'm just joking.
I'm like, yeah.
You love the thrillers.
I love thrillers. I love like, especially if there's an unreliable narrator or some kind of like, ensemble situation. I read a lot of Agatha Christie and a lot of Edgar Allan Poe growing up. Like, that's pretty much all I read, and I feel like that really informed my taste. And Vonnegut too. But.
What was the do you ever read the Westing Game?
No. Is that Agatha Christie?
No, it's a YA novel that was popular when we were kids, and it was like a lot of kids read it, but it's basically Agatha Christie for kids. It's really fun, or I remember it being a favorite for me. It'd probably take like an hour to read if you pick it up.
Googling.
Yeah, that was really fun. And then speaking of thrillers getting backburnered due to the pandemic, what was they actually shot and I think finished the follow-up to Murder on the Orient Express.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a sequel to that coming out. I gotta wonder what's happening with Johnny Depp and all this.
Glowcat dropping some Goosebumps. We gotta.
Oh yeah, Glowcat. I'm a Goosebumps #1 fan. So said the hat that I got when I was a kid. A lot of my Goosebumps, all of my Goosebumps memorabilia is at my parents' house, safely in boxes. But actually, that was the peak of 2020. Well, the peak was shooting our show, but the non-creative peak, the just like life peak of 2020 for me was, oh my god, we kicked up so much dust. We've had anyway. This cleaning, I feel like I can't catch my breath. Don't worry, I don't have COVID. I got tested today. Get my results in a few days. Get tested regularly. Okay, so Goosebumps. I used to, as a kid, go into Walden Books or Barnes & Noble and find the Goosebumps section and then ask them if I could take their cardboard standee. And like half the time, they would let you put your name on a Post-it with your phone number. And if you answered that call, you got to go pick it up when they were going to recycle it. And so I have a few original Goosebumps cardboard standees from Walden Books. But better than that, I took a picture of my Goosebumps collection last January of 2020 and posted it on Instagram. And R.L. Stein commented, "Great collection." And that was...
Oh, yeah.
That was my peak.
It was faint-worthy.
Oh, watch out, Witch. We're dehydrate. I gotta go get waters. All right. Anyway, Ryan is also a huge Goosebumps fan. We... played a rap show in Denton, Texas a few years ago, and one thing we did was we went to a thrift store, got a bunch of Goosebumps books, signed them with our signatures, and threw them into the crowd during the show. Good times.
Yeah, there's a great... Did Vineet take that photo? Who took that photo of you, like, with the Goosebumps book?
That's Ryan with the Goosebumps book and me standing over his shoulder, but I don't know. Was that you, Great Job Nerds? Were you with us? Were you with us then? I'll be right back. I'm gonna hydrate us.
If you have any suggestions for thriller, mystery, unreliable narrator movies I can watch this next couple weeks. Also, I'm going to be moving out to LA. Well, right now it's very much in flux, but at least minimum 2 weeks before Adam. So I'm going to be nesting and getting us settled and everything, getting our office set up over there. But obviously, it's going to be a long process. So I will have at least 2 to 4 weeks on my own in LA in quarantine. So I'm going to need show recs, movie recs, book recs. I'm probably going to be watching a lot of movies and shows on my own. So drop them in the chat. Let me know. Curate a list for me. Do whatever. Please let me know what your mystery, thriller, unreliable narrator suggestions are. Knives Out. Oh my god. Yes, Glowcat. Definitely seen Knives Out. It was really fun. I don't know if you saw the episode of SNL that came out, fairly close to that, but making fun of the Southern accent in that movie. And it was the dialect coach was the center of that sketch. It was pretty silly. But yeah, Knives Out is like a perfect example of sort of like a ensemble cast, Agatha Christie style, exactly up my alley, 100%. What is that movie? Oh man, maybe y'all can help me. Was it? I'm just thinking, literally thinking out loud right now. So we wanted to watch, and then there were none, the adaptation, which we did end up watching, but I think we watched something that was like adjacent to that around that time, black and white, ensemble cast. Maybe it was And Then There Were None. It was great. Was that what it was? I'm gonna have to ask Adam. I would talk about the end of the movie, but no, it was And Then There Were None, for sure. That was a great one. I think maybe it has a different title, is maybe why I'm getting confused. Does anyone know? Please help me out in the chat out there. Oh my gosh, Mortal Kombat. Oh my gosh, how fun. Well, okay. I was going to say something about Mortal Kombat, but I think I'm going to let Adam talk about that when he sees that in the chat. Please repeat the question. Okay, the question is, do you have any recommendations for mystery, thriller, and or unreliable narrator films or TV shows? Y'all know I said last week that I had been watching The Flight Attendant, and that's sort of like, you know, in that realm. It's also based on a novel. I love like Agatha Christie style. Some people were talking about Knives Out. And I was also saying that I will be in LA by myself with just me and the kitty cat for at least 2, maybe 4 or 5 weeks even. So I'm going to have a lot of alone time, a lot of time to watch movies. So if you have any suggestions in general as well, drop those in the chat. Uh-oh, hydration station.
Uh-oh, Skettios.
This way. I love water.
Have more.
Okay. Okay.
Knives Out was fun. Oh, I got it. Not that way. Sorry. It's my work computer. Okay.
Brick. Ooh, okay. Ooh, get some.
All right. Hydration challenge completed.
Okay. All right. So we got some, first of all, we got some talk of Mortal Kombat.
Fun.
Second of all, Glowcat's talking about Brick, which I think is in reference to my question. Have I seen Brick?
I worked at a film. I don't think you have. I haven't seen it either. I turned it off when it first came out. I probably owe it another shake. It was Rian Johnson's first or second movie. I remember it's like a high school noir. I remember renting it when I worked at a video store, starting it. They all talk like they're in a noir movie, but they're in high school.
Ooh.
And then they went up to a character on the side of the building and they said, "What's up, Brain?" And it was a character named Brain playing with a Rubik's Cube.
I remember you telling me this whole breakdown.
And then I said, "Next movie." And I probably should watch it again because every one of my friends loves it. And I always feel like the stinker.
I'm gonna watch it.
I always feel like
You're a stinker.
The stinky
I
butt.
Can't confirm. Adam's a stinker. He's got a stinky butt.
Ugh, gross.
And this is not a heated seat.
That's a good callback. Under the Silver Lake. In terms of like thrillers or mysteries specifically?
I said mystery thriller / and or unreliable narrator.
That's good.
Under the Silver Lake. I gotta start writing these down. I was also saying, remember when we watched the adaptation of And Then There Were None?
Yeah, we watched the 1945 version.
The 1945 version. What wasn't there another thriller, black and white thriller around that same time that we watched? And what was it called?
The 39 Steps?
Is that it?
I think so. We saw that in theater. There was the boomer guy in the back who laughed at everything really loud to make sure we knew he understood the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Low Life. Cool. We'll check out Low Life.
Okay, so Under the Silver Lake, Brick, and Low Life.
I'm trying to think, man, sometimes it's funny, like, I think sometimes the irony of this show is that, like, when I'm talking to friends, ideas flow so quickly, and then as soon as I'm on camera, I'm like, what are the mystery thrillers to recommend? And all of a sudden I'm bankrupt.
That's how I feel like every time it's like staff pick on the fly or like, you know, I don't know.
Mystery thrillers with an unreliable narrator. Okay, well, first of all, you can never go wrong watching Fincher's thrillers. Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, Gone Girl, 7, Fight Club, Zodiac. We gotta watch Zodiac.
Rewatch.
Yes, rewatch.
What? How many times do you think you've seen Zodiac?
3.
I've seen it twice.
I've never seen the director's cut, which is what we have.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I always think the Thomas Harris adaptations are really great. They are maybe not unreliable narrator, but Manhunter
or callback or and
Manhunter, the 86 Michael Manhunter, mm-hmm. And Silence of the Lambs Silence of the Lambs is a American masterpiece that I would love to rewatch. That's one of my favorite movies ever.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Chris Lambert is Raiden. Yes, Chris Lambert. Man, that's so fun. Y'all, I guess if we get in... Okay, well, I have a...
I seriously almost spoiled it, and then I was like, ooh.
I don't know how to do it without messing the camera up, but we'll figure it out. Fun. Low Life is a thriller, Tarantino as compared to Purple Noon. Thank you, great job, nerds. Purple Noon, which is it's Alain Delon, right? And that's the French movie that became remade as Talented Mr. Ripley.
Oh,
that's a great call out right there.
That's on the list. I need to. Can we remember all of these?
Mm-hmm. We'll make sure we copy the chat when we wrap before we close the window. What is another mystery thriller? Bong Joon-ho's Memories of Murder is coming out from Criterion on 4/20 this year, so we got a little bit to wait there. I can't wait to watch that, but we did just pick up that movie Cure. That Kurosawa movie. Yeah. Young new Kurosawa, not Master Kurosawa.
Man, I gotta say, it feels weird the last couple weeks coming into the stream with only watching 2 movies.
I agree. We gotta get back on our movie watches.
It's wild.
It is wild. A really good thriller, not really a mystery, but a thriller that I think is really slept on, that's pretty recent, I think 2013, 16, is Elle. Paul Verhoeven's Elle. Mm-hmm. It's now it's very I don't know how else to put it. It is a rape revenge thriller that is, you want to talk about bait and switch. It is a rape revenge thriller in which all I'll say is it's Isabelle Huppert playing the lead in a rape revenge thriller by Paul Verhoeven. It goes places. It's not always pleasant to watch, but I think that movie is pretty brilliant. Yes, there's a movie called Cure by Kurosawa. I forget his first name, but he is a younger Japanese filmmaker. And by younger, I mean past 20 years or so. Not Akira Kurosawa.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was
Identity's
just going to say,
fun.
was that the John Cusack one? Yeah. You
Saw
know
it
what?
Theater with my dad.
You know what? I think that if I were to distill kind of what I am always trying to get at when I'm saying this mystery / with all these slash.
Ow.
It's the film equivalent of a page turner.
Ooh, so you just want to.
I want to be like, whoa. You know what I mean? Whoa.
So when you're saying that, you're saying you want to watch a good movie. I'm just in the mood for a good movie.
No. It's the kind of page turner where you go where normally if you're in. It's the kind of page turner if you're reading in public, you would go, what? And then the coffee shop would get quiet and the music would stop suddenly and then everyone would stare at you and then start talking again. Or you'd throw the book across the room in bed, which I did when I was reading Gone Girl. I went, no! Oh my God! That's that sort of what the fuck? That's the feeling I love when I read thrillers, and that is the feeling I'm looking for when I watch a mystery / thriller / unreliable narrator / TV / film
/ good movie. I was just kind of.
Does that make any sense?
I think it made complete sense. I think you just absolutely. You want a tightly crafted mystery that has a strong internal logic and an emotional payoff.
I want to be surprised and titillized.
That sounds awesome, man. They're remaking Cube in Japan. That sounds very fun.
Whoa.
Oh man, Cube's a fun one. Shout out to Cube. That looks cool. I'm gonna watch if I'm watching that trailer. Well, I was just so because we're in the process of moving and more of the movies are boxed up, and I gotta say it's a video store, so when thinking of recommendations and ideas and like being like, what's the genre? The reason I love physical media, and I think my brain is trained this way, I love to browse and be like, oh, this, which reminds me of this. Mm-hmm. And it's hard to do that in a vacuum. So forgive me while I kind of look at what we do have here to see if anything else strikes a memory for a thriller you might like. I do see Mulholland Drive up there, which I think checks all these boxes. Mm-hmm. And I would love to rewatch. Also Blue Velvet.
Oh, it's been a really long time since I watched Blue Velvet.
No, I mean, Lynch is like deconstructing the thriller, but I think it still thrills.
Yeah.
And kills.
Yeah.
And
Does it chill?
It chills as well. Speaking of that,
does it grill?
If you were no.
Is it wood grilled?
No.
Or smoked?
No. It's flame broiled. Speaking of
now I want a burger.
Glowcat loving Goosebumps. Bone Chillers, anyone? Bone Chillers? I love all the Goosebumps ripoff tales as well. Oops. Good thing I drank all that water.
Thank you, Pathos.
Ooh, Michael Haneke as well. Michael Haneke. I think we bought that Hitchcock box set over the summer.
Literally, I mean, I'm sure it's because it was right there, but the
Let's
word
watch
Hitchcock was about to come out of my mouth.
Let's watch it.
Yeah.
Let's watch through it. I mean, Hitchcock is what you're describing.
Yeah.
And I have seen, for someone who's a big film fan and has the audacity to host a movie show, I really should have seen far more Hitchcock movies. I've seen the big ones, but we have basically a complete set here.
Yeah.
And I would love to go through. We've been having this
conversation for a while too.
You would love Rope. You would love Dial M for Murder, and you loved Psycho. Mm-hmm. Which was that a first viewing for you? Mm-hmm. See, and that twist got you. Talk about a bait and switch.
No, I knew the twist.
Oh, greatest bait and switch of all time.
Yeah, I mean, but like,
this is about a girl who's stealing a bunch of money to start a new life. It's a thriller about a girl who stole holy shit.
Yeah.
New main character.
It's great.
So good.
Great. What is Danganronpa? Danganronpa. Danganronpa.
Danganronpa. I think you're saying it. Thrills, chills, kills is one of the taglines. It sounds like this is
Is it a game?
Serendipitous. I don't know. I just don't know.
I think I saw Pathos say something about game. Danganronpa games. Danganronpa games. Sorry, just got excited.
What did you get excited about? Do tell.
Well, first of all, Pathos said, "Oh, what a wonderful thing I have to tell you about." LOL, which is exciting. I just got excited because I was like, "Oh, is there a new Bachelor tonight?"
Ooh. Hey, real quick, if we go back, I just had to Google again. I need to look. I have a few mystery thrillers that I think would knock your socks off. Were just thrillers.
I'm not wearing any socks.
Oh no. Uh-oh, scarios. One of them is, first of all, we could totally get into some noir, but one of them is Dead Ringers.
Oh, yeah.
I love Dead Ringers. I don't know how much it qualifies as a mystery, but I do think it's like it is hitting the boxes you described.
Yeah.
It's like crafted ass movie.
Yeah.
But I know what you're talking about, Ticking Clock. Has anyone ever seen Nick of Time with Christopher Walken and Johnny Depp? That's it's not a great movie, but it's fun.
Sounds really familiar. Is that from the like late 90s, early aughts?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And the conceit of it is that it's an 85-minute movie. It's in real time. Movie starts at 10:30 a.m., ends at noon. Everything happens in real time in the movie. They cheat it, but for the most part. That's right. You know, I watched this is one of the weirder things I've done in my life. I watched the first season of 24 in real time over the course of one day.
Oh. No, really?
I got my wisdom teeth out, and they pumped me full of hydrocodone, gave me pills. I was in pain. My mouth's aching, so I'm taking the regular pill regimen. But I'm at home. I'm in high school. I'm not, like, abusing the pills.
Tell us
So
about
I'm just,
it.
like, chilling out. I had gotten the first season of 24 at a Black Friday sale for, like, $5 because I thought it was a cool concept, and it was cheap. It was there. My high school girlfriend was like, do you want to throw this on? Because I was, like, groggy. And she got sucked in, so she slept through part of it and rewatched it later, but I basically was, like, kind of in and out, but I remember it. I didn't miss anything, and I watched it all, like, and I basically started and stopped it and marathoned the entire season and basically took a 24-hour day to watch it in real time.
Wow.
It was a fun experience.
I love that.
It was fun time. It was good.
It was fun time.
Oh, another, like, stuff. Let's get into giallos.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, there's, and we've seen a few, but, like, The Girl Who Knew Too Much is one of my favorite movies. That's, like, you want to talk about crime thriller with violent and bait and switches and characters who are unreliable? You're talking about giallo movies.
We almost named our cat Giallo.
We did, except he's not yellow, so.
Well, now he is.
Right. And you knew he
Hindsight.
would be. Okay. Danganronpa is a series of visual novel games that are anime-based mystery thrillers. Interesting characters, incredible mysteries, many of those goddammit throw the book across the room moments.
Oh. Wow.
That sounds fun. Sounds very fun.
I'm going to look into that.
We gotta, okay, but I think we have a few. Hitchcock, we have some great suggestions in the chat. Mm-hmm. And then I really want to Cure together. Mm-hmm. I think Parasite checks those boxes. Mm-hmm. I would love to watch more movies by him. Mm-hmm. And I would love to watch Hitchcock. And then I think when I say giallo, I'm not even talking about, like, necessarily Argento. I'm talking about, like, some of the early, because when we watched Blood and Black Lace.
I love Blood and Black Lace.
Yeah, but you and Mario Bava made, like, 10 movies like that.
I think that was one of my movie picks.
It was. Mario Bava is the Italian Hitchcock.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
We'll get into it.
I'm here for that.
There's all the colors of yellow. For anyone who doesn't know, just to explain this joke to make it funnier. Oh, the host. That's a good call, Wedge. That's a good call. All the color giallo in Italian means yellow, and it's a reference to the yellowed, pulpy pages of the crime paperbacks that the genre resembled, which are anyway.
Fun fact.
I think Deep Red by Argento. I will say, fun fact: Argento means silver. Argent means money.
That's right. Yeah.
L'Argent. That's another movie I'd love to see. L'Argent.
Oh, you know what? It was on our queue. Sorry, now we're just going ping, 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 ping.
We
ping,
only
ping.
watched 2 movies this week. We get to kill time.
I know. My queue. I really wanted to watch Le Million.
Oh yeah, me
this
too.
Week,
Renee Claire.
And we didn't get around to it. And I also really wanted to watch. Help me out. Skiing.
Oh, Force Majeure.
Force Majeure. Those 2 have been on my queue shelf in my mind for like 9 months.
Let's watch both. I want to watch both of them. Force Majeure was one I meant to watch when I was trying to make my top movies of the decade list, and I never finished it.
The reason Force Majeure has been popping back into my mind lately is because Jim Rash, who plays the Dean on Community, wrote and directed the remake called Downhill, starring Will Ferrell and
Ricky Bobby and Veep.
Yeah, exactly. Which feels like weirdly, serendipitously, kind of some weird collision of that, of like humor, weird Will Ferrell-y humor, and this almost like noir-y, giallo-y sort of.
I like that. It's supposed to be like a dark character comedy, right?
Yeah.
There's so much.
Has anyone seen the remake Downhill? Jim Rash? Anyways, just curious.
Oh, and I just want to let you know, Glowcat, I take all your recommendations to heart. Whether or not I have the time to get to them all is another thing. But I do save these and write them down on my phone to reference. But I noted that Low Life is going to move to the top of that list. Mm-hmm. Low Life. Blurs about Low Life giving Drive vibes. I feel like Drive is another I feel like Drive is that movie that could be a thriller if it wanted to, but instead it just wants to hang out and look cool, which is fine. I think Drive's a real cool movie.
Oh, yeah.
Tarantino gave Drive the year that Tarantino always says his top 10 of the year list. And the year that Drive came out, it wasn't on his list. He gave it the Nice Try Award, which meant nice try being like me.
Oh, brother. That is such a Tarantino thing to do.
It is. Great job, nerds. Loved Force Majeure.
Oh, great. I love that. I also... It's a crime.
That's Low Life. Cool.
Okay, cool. I also did not know The Way, Way Back was Jim Rash. And
Didn't know either.
And The Way, Way Back, I feel like, is one that I've been wanting to watch. That is late, like 2015?
I don't know. I don't remember. I remember he wrote The Descendants and won an Oscar for it.
Oh, yeah. That little thing.
These are heavy. That's a reference to Community episode we just watched.
Yep.
Howie Schwartz's bat mitzvah.
Oh, if you have a favorite Dean moment, please drop it in the chat.
My favorite Dean moment is a tie. Please drop your favorite Dean moment. Drive is rad. Wedge, not...
Also,
Tarantino talks shit on it, not me. I love Drive.
Did we not see
Actually,
Drive?
hold up.
Did we not see Drive in theaters?
I saw Drive in theaters. That was 2011. We didn't know each other.
The sands of time continue to elude, confuse, confound me. I never know how long it's been. I never know how long it will be. Was that really 2011, y'all? Oh my god. Is that really 2011? I guess it was. I guess it was that long ago. Jeez Louise. Jeez McSqueeze. And a bucket of cheese. Okay. Oh, sick! Yeah.
So, yes, this is a piece of art by an artist named Johnny Negron, who did a lot of comics for Vice back in the day. It was actually commissioned by a friend of mine named Louis Dorge, who worked at Vulcan Video in Austin, Texas, as well as co-produced a movie with me. And I also went as the driver that year for Halloween. And I had shorter hair, but here's my jacket. I'm going to take it off because it's super hot. But I saved it. Thank you, Wedge. I need to get it cleaned. I'm pretty sure that the puppy that I used to live with peed on the back. But I have no idea how to pee or clean pee out of synthetic from
silk.
10 years ago.
It's a very cool jacket, though. Okay.
Bring me 5 can of olives.
Yes, that's great. That's why I was laughing when you were in the other room. And the wrap is, that's definitely one of my favorite.
Oh yeah,
those are all. There's so many good Dean.
the rap is tied for me with the
so
hello, I'm Dean and my hands are so clean. At this moment, I am stapling. That's the best. And the rap. Those are my all 5 can of olive is so good.
So, God, there's so many funny ones. Oh man.
Oh, Pathos. I did catch that. I'm sorry to scroll. I'm not trying to ignore you, Pathos. Danganronpa. We are going to check it out.
Oh yes, that sounds very, very up my alley. For sure, we'll check that out. Let me see. How do you play it? You play it, right?
Oh, it's a video game franchise. Okay. That was what was going over my head. I thought it was now I get it. I thought you're saying it's like a multimedia. We just watched that one. Wedge. Hi, Abby. We just watched that moment of the
Oh yes, when he brings him the warm milk.
I'll be here watching you.
How does this song
staring at you.
How does this song go?
Troy Hobbit off to dreamland, going away to Sleepy Town.
Oh my god.
Donald Glover's face in that. I think we watched that episode last night.
Yeah, or the night before.
We're rewatching Community right now.
Yeah, I think we mentioned this on the stream last week, but we're kind of in that, since we're moving and everything feels chaotic and we literally are grasping to control anything we can, we have just been rewatching a lot more comfort TV to just feel like grounded, and things that are familiar: Drag Race, The Bachelor, Community.
The good stuff, the essentials.
The essentials. I feel like we're moving right along. If you want to transition soon to
staring at you. Yes, Glow Cat. Yes, Glow Cat. I am. Here, brief sidebar. I really, really, really like seasons 5 and 6 of Community. The reason I like them is because I think they accidentally do what the show was meaning to do, which is use the format to explore the problems we go through in life. And I think those seasons are so much about letting go, because you're not getting the show that you started with. Just like no one in the study group gets the friend group they started with. That dynamic, and as someone who worked at a toy store with people who are still my best friends, I worked at a toy store for 4 years. Great Job Nerds was there. That was my Community era. The person who was my roommate at the time. Hello, cat. You're not allowed. Sorry. The person that was my roommate at the time was basically, we had a very Troy and Abed thing. We built forts in the house. We had Nerf gun fights. It was our life. But that time doesn't last forever. And I think that's why I like Community 5 and 6, is because I've never seen most sitcoms take you there forever, and then in the last episode everyone looks around it, like Friends, they all look around and they're like, well, I guess this couldn't last forever. But Community makes you live through the feeling of losing it bit by bit, and I think it's kind of brilliant. Yeah. I love that show. I really love the whole thing.
Okay.
Are we ready for new rivals? New arrivals. Stapling. Hold on, I got you. Oh, never mind. I packed it up. I thought I had a stapler handy. My bad.
That's been my whole week of like, oh, now I packed that up. Oh, I packed that up.
Oh, I packed that up as well.
I packed that up. I was gonna say, since you
Thank you, Pathos.
Since you have a nice little stack there, I thought it would be fun, since it just occurred to me for Christmas for myself. I kind of bought myself some cool local fun things.
Yeah.
And I never showed them off, and I could totally. I mean, it's all great stuff. That could be like my little.
I love that. Get in here.
Little moment.
Get in here. I'm gonna be real quick with the new arrivals section, by the way, y'all.
Okay.
I'm
so
not
while
gonna.
you do that.
Not gonna take up much time. Cool. First up, first up, I'm just gonna say, y'all know that I have been really wanting to do a Hong Kong Cinema Week here. Now, because we're moving, and because I can't move with all the movies that we have, I am actually Stephanie mentioned that we're watching a lot of comfort stuff. That's very true. But another thing is, I'm kind of backburnering a lot of my film watching projects, like watching a bunch of Hong Kong movies or watching a bunch of Hitchcock movies. The reason for that is because I want to bring those things with me to LA and have something to kind of dive into when I'm there. So I'm not going to watch these for a few more weeks, but I'm super stoked they came. Y'all know I have been trying to dive into the Hong Kong movies, and these are all Tai Seng video releasing VHS. Tai Seng was one of the biggest importers of Asian movies to the United States, especially on VHS. And a lot of these, I haven't done the research on this, I couldn't say, but a lot of the movies they put out never got US release, period. So I'm stoked to dive in. So I'm just going to rattle these off because, to be honest, I haven't watched any of them. I bought them because they looked interesting, and I'll have more to say on them once we get into our Hong Kong week. First one is Deadful Melody, aka the Six-Fingered String Demon. It's a martial arts fantasy epic. This is a sword and sorcery Chinese ghost story. Speaking of Chinese ghost story, here is a movie, Chinese Ghost Story. This is a very famous Hong Kong movie, Chinese Ghost Story. This is one of the standouts. This has been put out on Blu-ray, but only overseas. So I'm happy to watch it on this cool VHS copy. Up next, we got Butterfly and Sword, which I believe, yes, does have Michelle Yeoh in it. You know, we love to throw Michelle Yeoh some love on the show. I really don't know much about Butterfly and Sword, other than that it is a wuxia martial arts movie with an actress I love. Then we got Bullet in the Head. Bullet in the Head is John Woo. This is, I think, the last John... I gotta double check this. I think this completes my John Woo collection. Never seen this one before. Love John Woo. It's got Tony Leung in it, in the lead. Tony Leung, for those that don't know, is if you saw Lust Caution, he's the lead in Lust Caution. That he kind of had some breakout success. Huge star in Hong Kong and Taiwanese film. He is a frequent collaborator of Wong Kar-wai. He's a very handsome man and one of my favorite actors. He's actually incredible in John Woo's Red Cliff double feature. Super famous Hong Kong actor. And then finally, this is, who is this? Ringo Lam. Ringo Lam, one of the action greats alongside Woo and Sui Hark. I haven't heard fantastic things about this movie. People say it's kind of hit or miss, but I'm excited. It's called Burning Paradise. And so that is the Tai Sang Hong Kong pickups. And like I said, we'll get into the Hong Kong stuff in a few weeks. I think once we land, I want to do a Hong Kong week.
Oh, fun.
Once we land in Hollywood, we'll watch all the movies from the other giant movie industry in the world. Love Michelle Yeoh. Love to see that Michelle Yeoh love. Yeah, and you know, I think I'm gonna try and find places these movies are streaming too, if y'all want to watch along. Even if there's like a YouTube link or something, because the world's a big place. There's a lot of movie industries. We don't always get to see everything that's popular in other countries, but the weird thing is, like, especially recently, China gets our blockbusters. We don't get theirs. And so I'm really, anyway, I'm very interested in it. Hong Kong movies are just so full of kinetic ideas. Cool. Keep it moving. Let's talk about, we're talking about a really dead format. And while we're talking about Community, Pierce made a joke on last night's episode.
That's right.
He said, I spent the break finally upgrading my movie collection. Goodbye VHS, hello Selectavision CED video disc. That is what this is. This is a CED video disc. Basically, it is a giant floppy disk, as Great Job Nerds eloquently put it. It is a disc that is inside of this case. You slide it into your... let's see here. I don't want to break it. I have no idea how to do this.
I was about to say, maybe...
Yeah, I'll mess with it later. I have no idea I do not have a player for this, but essentially it slides in, plays the movie. Now, it has been a goal of mine since I was young to get The Neverending Story on every single physical media format. Found this after years of searching on eBay last week. Picked it up. Project complete. I now have The Neverending Story on CD, video disc, Laserdisc, Beta, VHS, DVD, Blu-ray.
That's great. Pathos says that I have so many of those, and it's more like a giant cassette tape.
Oh, cool, Pathos. Do you take the entire thing inserts? That's what I thought. Thank you, guys. Yeah, weirdly, like right after I got this, and then I texted in my group text with Great Job Nerds and our friend Max about it. I got on Facebook, and the next thing I saw was a post in the Video Vagrants group of someone selling a bunch of them. And there's a guy named Gabriel in that group who hates this format, and it's a running gag to tag him in your posts. But I'm really happy. Neverending Story super fan right here. I think the only... Oh, that's cool. That's cool as hell, Pathos. Yes, Princess Bride, Wedge. Yeah, and then Vineet, Great Job Nerds, found the reason we were talking is because this had arrived in the mail, and I had not told anybody, and Great Job Nerds texted me with the CED video disc for Labyrinth and was like, have y'all ever heard of this format? I was like, dude, what are the odds that we both bought we each got one of the best two fantasy movies of the 80s on the same dead format within like 2 days. Anyway, that's really cool. Oh, like a cassette. I see what you're saying.
Oh, nice.
So more like a cassette than a disc. Cool. Keeping it moving. Speaking of Video Vagrants, have y'all seen the movie Tetsuo the Iron Man? It is one of my favorite movies. I've talked about this director before on the show, Shinya Tsukamoto. I think Shinya Tsukamoto is one of the great experimental visionaries of all time. He's a huge influence on me, maybe not stylistically, but work ethic and style-wise. This is his breakout movie, Tetsuo the Iron Man. Really, if you want to talk about body horror, you want to talk about technophobia, this cannot be excluded from the conversation. This movie is about a man's body literally becoming metal, and it is not a good thing.
Just even looking at the images on the back, it's like, this looks like when you pour hot metal down an anthill.
Yeah.
This looks like it's some kind of like conspiracy theory. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, like
what am I thinking of?
That's referencing Clockwork Orange.
But
I actually love that your reference point is conspiracy theory. That's another thriller we gotta watch.
Conspiracy theory?
Well, we watched that like 2 years ago. I'm happy to rewatch it.
Yes, I've seen that movie many times.
Enemy of the State.
I wrote a whole comedy show based on that movie.
Enemy of the State.
Yeah.
Look, I'm about to pack up and leave our 90s collection. So if there's stuff in there we need to watch, we need to watch it.
Now my heart's pounding.
I know. You have 2 weeks to watch all the best movies ever made. It still smells like spray paint. I love that smell. Anyway, Left of the Dial, who I told y'all I would name, or I would not just name drop, but I told y'all I would drop the link. Left of the Dial is the person who made this. They make a lot of amazing video boots. And so this is, I'm not sure where this art is from. I'm not sure if it's original or if this is rental art from the Japanese release. But it is a Japanese box. It says one week rental in kanji in the bottom right of the front, and it's got this fake sticker on here as well. The real sexy thing about this, though, is the tape itself. Used a masking process.
This is so cool.
It's so cool.
I don't know if this is going to do it total justice, but...
Well, he used a masking process to half and half the tape with chrome silver and black. It's got a really beautiful Tetsuo sticker here in the middle. And then on the side, a custom silver on black Tetsuo label, so you can see that sexiness as you slide it into your VCR. It also comes with a bunch of Tsukamoto's short films. Now, Arrow put out a really great box set of Tsukamoto earlier last year that I picked up, and I watched a few of those, but this is definitely getting a ride in the player very soon. Also, the other thing that I don't think we'll read... I don't think this will read on camera, but there are windows. If you can see, those VHS windows have been printed with a transparent image.
And that's sort of what I was saying. I don't know if it'll do it justice, but luckily, Glowcat sounds like they have seen some of that in person, and they also agree the window art is insane.
It's rad.
It's just really... I mean, what a special, cool touch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Really makes it.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, one of my favorite movies, one of my favorite bootleg artists and recreation artists, and now one of my favorite tapes. All right, 2 left. It's all tapes tonight. First of all, The Stuff. Larry Cohen's The Stuff. I was just really stoked to find an original release of this on tape. This movie's not hard to find, but this tape is relatively uncommon. I love Larry Cohen. I don't think this is Larry Cohen's best movie. I think it's very on the nose with its cultural commentary. It is very much about consumerism. It is not really super nuanced, but it's Larry Cohen. It's effects driven, and it's fun as hell. The Stuff. If you haven't seen it, I recommend The Stuff. Have you ever seen this movie?
No.
It's got the dumbest opening, I think, in movie history. Not movie history. It's got a dumb opening. It's basically, the opening is a cold open, literally a cold open, on a snowy factory, and an old man sees a white cream bubbling out of the ground and goes, what's that? That's delicious. It's the dumbest opening.
It's the stuff.
But the plot is that there's this delicious whipped cream, ice cream thing that's no calorie, and everyone takes it, but it melts your body.
Oh, no.
Oh,
no.
Aw. You think it's his best? Well, look, I love Larry Cohen. I dearly love... In fact...
I think it's so sweet, sad. I don't know what word I'm looking for that made Glocat scared of Cool Whip as a kid.
I know. I think that's sweet.
Sounds exactly like something that, like a place my brain would go. It's like, well, now I'm scared of Cool Whip.
I think the reason that I thought of it as one of his worst movies, to be honest, is just because of the clumsiness of the storytelling in comparison to other stuff. But it has been a really long time, and Glocat, on the things we've disagreed on, I typically have come back around and then felt like, shit, I like this. I'm looking up Larry Cohen.
This description on the back is amazing.
What does it say?
It's smooth and creamy. It's delicious. It isn't filling. It's taken the country by storm, and it kills. It's the stuff. The newest taste sensation is outselling ice cream 2-1, and merchants can't keep up with the ferocious demand. In order to save their failing businesses, an ice cream industry saboteur and a junk food mogul attempt to uncover the manufacturing secrets of the stuff.
If anyone is interested in reading some thoughts on Larry Cohen, here is a story I wrote for. Let me just grab this. Well, no, it's up there. Okay, there's a film magazine called Paracinema Magazine. Some years back, I wrote the cover story for their 7th issue, and it's called Deconstructive Feedback: The Cinema of Larry Cohen. I put it on Medium a couple years ago. If you're interested, it's a long read. But that is my piece on Larry Cohen. And you know, it sounds like I owe this stuff another shake. In any case.
Would you say you owe this stuff another taste?
Another taste. I do. Thank you. That was better. And in any case, I bought this and am super excited that it arrived. So it's not like I hate this movie. I pretty much love everything Larry Cohen has touched. I'm
very excited to watch that with
Well,
you.
it's going to get a rewatch on this. This tape is going to get watched by us. So fear not, Glocat. This movie's new appraisal is coming. And finally, this came with the Hong Kong movies. This was from the same seller. If you bought 3 tapes, you got free shipping. So I did it. And I picked up a movie I already own on DVD, but I own a really shitty DVD copy of it, like a $5 cheapy MOD DVD, manufactured on demand. It's a movie called Story of a 3-Day Pass, released originally as La Permission, un film de Melvin Van Peebles. This is Melvin Van Peebles, who is perhaps best known for Sweet Sweetback's Badass Story, and for Don't Sell Us Short. What is it called? I have it right over there. Oh, it's okay. I'll get to it. Anyway, Melvin Van Peebles is a pioneer of black independent filmmaking and of just independent filmmaking in America. But before he made Sweet Sweetback and helped blow up and invent the blaxploitation genre by telling a American story, city story, first he told Story of a 3-Day Pass, which is about a black serviceman on leave in Paris for 3 days, has an interracial relationship with a white Parisian girl, and there's this there's a love, there's a joy, but there's a clash. And this movie very boldly explores like privilege and what am I trying to say? Image for its time. And it was produced in 1967. I think this movie, now you can see the budget on it. I was actually talking to Ryan about this movie earlier because a mutual friend of ours recommended it to me originally. This movie, you can see the budget on. You can tell that it was produced on a very low budget, very freewheeling small crew. But everything it does also feels super reminiscent of the French New Wave and feels a lot like Godard. And I think that you can't give Godard credit for doing it while denying Melvin Van Peebles his credit and saying it looks cheap. You can't say Story of a 3-Day Pass is looks like it was shot on a shoestring budget by a crew of 3 people and then say it's brilliant that Godard shot Breathless on a shoestring budget with 3 people. This movie's really, I think this movie's fantastic. It's got some very bold human moments that I think are incredible. And I really recommend this movie. La Permission, probably easier to find as Story of a 3-Day Pass. I think this is streaming for free on the old Amazon.
I am very excited to watch that film.
Great movie. That was one of the first movies I watched early in quarantine.
That's right.
Yeah, last year.
Oh.
Also known for making Mario Van Peebles, who became known for making Solo. That's right. Cool. That's my new releases.
I was just looking behind you at the
New arrivals.
Oh, great. Okay. It's me. Awesome. So I don't know why this didn't occur to me before. I guess I was just thinking strictly in movie terms, but why not? Because we've shown shirts and merch and all sorts of fun stuff. So for Christmas for myself, as sort of like a treating myself moment, I thought that I would purchase some things from some local artists that I love, to support them and, you know, do something nice for myself. The first one of which I cannot find because I think we've already packed it up, but I have a good friend who is also signed with Captured Tracks. Her name is Molly Birch. I love her music, and she had a new t-shirt out, a t-shirt design with her and her cat Prez. I love Prez. I love Molly. So I went ahead and bought, I think one of her LPs that I didn't have, or her EPs that I didn't have, and one of her shirts with Prez. She often gives a portion of her sales to some kind of charity or does some kind of charity work or activism work. She's wonderful. Her music is wonderful. She has a new single out. It's called Emotion. Definitely would check it out. Check out her merch because her merch is really cute.
Yeah, it is. Molly Birch is great.
Yeah, it's great. Okay, then I bought myself, I don't know if I can show these.
We can't unless it's just a butt. I was going to say.
Well, I'll just show the back, and I think the top one is just a butt.
I think you're safe with that top one.
Okay, great. So I bought myself a deck of playing cards from this company, collective, I don't know what you'd call them. What would you call Peach Fuzz? A collective? A company?
I'd call them an arts. I'd call them pornographers.
Yeah, okay.
I'd call them an arts company.
It's like an arts company, pornography company, based in Austin, Texas, called Peach Fuzz Magazine. They put out volumes. I think
pornography
quarterly?
Actually has a negative connotation.
Yeah,
I would say they're an erotic arts company.
Erotic arts company is a nice descriptor.
Because it's not pornographic. No,
and they primarily work in the medium of photography with kind of this body positivity, queer positivity, love, and all that good stuff. So they're called Peach Fuzz. I bought myself a deck of their playing cards. They're gorgeous. They're such lovely, nice, heavy quality. They come in this really awesome little plastic case that's clear, so you can kind of have one like up on display. So this is the one that I have up on display. I don't know if you can see it. Hopefully I won't get in trouble for
No, I think a butt's fine. This is a tamer one.
So there's the Joker. You can see it's just really cool. This is kind of one of their more iconic photos. She's holding a peach. This is one of their earlier photos. So this one makes the rounds quite a bit. But they also do put out, I believe, quarterly or twice a year, they put out a magazine. So check them out. Peach Fuzz. Very cool. Very cool. And then finally, a collective of artists that I've worked with personally called The Gay Agenda, the with an extra E, The Gay Agenda. They're wonderful. They kind of started out mostly working in comedy and now have expanded to visual artists and writers and just started putting out zines. They just put out their first zine, which I ordered, which I could not find anywhere. But I did also order myself a hat.
I love this hat.
This hat is so cute. It says everybody gay. And then on the back you've got The Gay Agenda and this really nice adjustable leather strap. This kind of feels and looks like denim. It's really comfy. It's so cute. I love it so much. I love The Gay Agenda. I love working with them. I love everything they put out. And I love their merch. Their merch is so good again.
You just realize, earlier in the show we were talking about, first of all, thank you for sharing your dope shit. I'm really happy that you got to get it on the new arrival section.
Yeah.
Second of all, early in the show, we were talking about how are we at a point in culture where we're re-examining our relationship with the internet. And I was saying I do think there's some pushback. I don't think we're going to be talking about the internet so much because I think there's a new generation of artists who are more interested in reconnecting with the physical world and physicality. To be honest, I think that's why tape collecting culture has seen a boom. And I also think that's the second or third time tonight I've heard the word zine.
Yeah.
And that I like because Glowcat's talking about the zine from the Vagrants group. Peach Fuzz has the zine. I do think that that artists are beginning to traffic more in the lived physical experience of a boutique item.
Yeah.
And getting away from like anyone can post a SoundCloud link, but what about this artifact?
Also,
that's where my heart's at.
Getting back into this idea of like artists collectives, like people, this collaboration, people working together, and like you were saying, actually having fewer things but nicer things, more meaningful things. More personal things, for sure. I think that definitely is coming back into the zeitgeist.
For sure.
Spirit of time.
Spirit of time.
Spirit of time.
I don't know.
Anyways,
what that means.
Oh, did you drop a link for Molly as well?
I didn't. My Video Club is also. Ooh.
She has a website.
Hell yeah, Glowcat! I'm all about this. If I hadn't packed it all up, I would have shown you all my zines because I have a nice little collection that we're moving with. Stephanie actually is she's beating me by 2 weeks, and one of the pieces of furniture she's going to try and find for us is a vintage magazine rack.
Yeah, if anyone knows, like, if there's any weird resource for vintage magazine racks, I just can't get over the idea of having one in the living room or by the office area with just a rad-ass zine and magazine collection.
Oh, and you know what I just
Rad-ass?
realized? Rad-ass rules. I'm using it.
Okay.
Using it! I just realized that you're off Facebook, but a place that you might find some of that stuff is Marketplace.
Oh, boy.
And fun segue for new arrivals in Marketplace. I don't know how to do this because I don't want to. The mic is not going to pick me up if I go over there. I don't want to mess up our shot. Oh. So what do I do? Get a mirror?
You could reset this shot pretty easily if you just went like that and went like that.
Okay, so let me turn.
Jeez Louise.
I know. Let me turn the mic around. So hopefully you hear me. All right, so y'all. Speaking of the new arrivals and Mortal Kombat and Facebook Marketplace. I know we're about to move, and this was probably not a wise decision, but I was on Facebook Marketplace, and I saw someone selling this for about a third of what it's worth, and they happened to list it on my payday, and so I decided instead of buying any movies or tapes, I would buy this. And what this is the Arcade 1-Up Mortal Kombat cabinet.
Prepare for padding. We padding.
Right. So this is the Mortal Kombat Arcade 1-Up cabinet. It comes with these 3 games. Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3 Ultimate. And I actually just did a little bit of upgrading to it. So originally it came with flat red and flat black devices here. Will you hold that for me? I'm so sorry. Just like that. So originally, these were black. I found some cool Mortal Kombat ones on eBay. These were hard red. I found some transparent ones. And then it originally comes with square gates, but I installed octagonal gates so that you can do nice actual moves. So, been playing a lot of that Mortal Kombat machine. Hey, look, that shot reset itself, actually.
Oh, jeez, you and that.
This infernal water jug!
We got a "Did you buy a Mortal Kombat cab?" in all caps from Glowcat. That is a sexy cabinet. Ooh, ultimate for pathos. Holy shit from Watch Out Wedge. Love me a good arcade stick board setup. That's dope.
I love it, y'all. And I'm sorry to you that we're moving with it. I really shouldn't have purchased it.
Y'all, we're downsizing.
We're downsizing. But what I will say is, honey, yes, I bought it.
I bought this thing. Will fit. I promise.
We can put it in the bathroom. We'll put it in the shower. I don't need to shower.
We'll make it work.
Thank you. Stephanie is like the best partner ever and super supportive. And actually, like when I got it, I know that inside she was like, fuck, where are we going to fit that? But outwardly, she was like, Oh yeah, that's out of print. You have to pick it up.
It brings you joy.
That's so nice. It's out of print. I know that they're probably going to do Arcade 1-Up is probably going to do like a Midway Classics cab, and it's probably going to be on there. But that's going to be $500-$600, and this was $200. It's on eBay for $700. I'm sorry, when I got on Marketplace, the person didn't even know what they had. They had it listed as Mortal Kombat Arcade. That was the description. They didn't know it was Arcade 1-Up. They didn't know that it was out of print. I saw it for $200. They wanted cash for it. I exchanged cash for this good.
Yep, and Glowcat, now I want a bathroom arcade cab. That concept is just making me giggle.
Quick poll. Yes, there will be a dedicated room just for the cabinet. It will be the closet. We don't need it. The clothes can go under the bed. Okay, well. Quick poll. If you had to have one arcade machine that you played while you pooped, what would it be?
Ooh, Pac-Man.
That's very good. Yeah, but I love this thing, and I've been practicing the. I wish have you seen the original holders for it? Anyway, the little tops for the arcade sticks, they're like $5 each on eBay. I really like these. You make it look nice. And then I'm not going to undo the whole thing, but if you unscrew that top and you take it off and you open it and you unscrew the back, there's what's called gates. I learned this. I'm not an arcade machine repair dude, so I had no idea. I've never done one.
You're not?
I'm not. Sorry.
No, just kidding.
I did fix this one.
Now that's the last. I can't.
I'm sorry. It's the last lie I deal with. They have what are called gates, and basically the gate prohibits the stick from moving in a circle. It gives it parameters. And so the gates these come with are squares. And so if you're trying to do a like down to front roll to like hit a fireball off, as one does, it feels very sticky. And so they have octagonal gates that are 8 directions that are actually mimic like a D-pad or an arcade stick. And it's really easy to replace. It requires no engineering knowledge. You just snap it off, snap it on. And so I got this cab. I replaced the gates, made them octagonal. I replaced the dust covers and the tops for the sticks. And now it's my little baby. Now it's coming with me. Metal Slug X is good. Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Dude, so, Smiles. There's an X-Men vs. Street Fighter and a Marvel vs. Capcom cab from Arcade 1-Up that you can currently get, but word on the street is they might be doing a Marvel Capcom 2. They just the company has said they don't have powerful enough basically to because the graphics are so much better for Marvel vs. Capcom 2, they don't have a powerful enough engine that they could charge affordably for it, but it's on the horizon. So if that's what you want, keep an eye out for it because you might get your wish.
No one else is a Pac-Man pooper?
I don't think so. Toss you an image of my fight stick. Yes, Glowcat, would love to see your fight stick. What's my pack? Mine is Dig Dug.
Dig Dug.
No, it's got to be a satisfying game where you clear the screen. I think that's why Pac-Man's good. It's a bunch of little pellets, and when you clear the tubes of the pellets, you're done.
Yeah.
Like pooping.
Exactly. Also, it's just, you can kind of like concentrate and just sort of stay still. So there's not less, opportunity for accident.
I love it. Okay, Steph, I am going to take, speaking of the bathroom, I'm going to go do the opposite of I'm going to take a bio break. I'm not going to go poop. Let's be mature. We all have bodies. I'm not going to go poop. I'm going to go pee real quick and feed the dog dinner. And maybe before we jump into, and then I'll come back with Ryan, maybe.
Okay.
The movie club.
Yeah.
If you want to do Steph's TV corner, just saying.
I'll try. I did not prepare for that at all.
I'm so sorry. Am I putting you totally on the spot?
Well, yes, but we'll see what happens.
Okay. All right, BRB, y'all.
Well, I totally was not prepared to do like a Steph's TV corner. I feel like you all already know what I've been watching this week. Did anyone watch Drag Race? The newest episode of Drag Race? Curious. What was it? Bags? Oh man, Bags. Oh, Lala Ree, I think is her name. The cardinal sin of Drag Race and or any kind of like Project Runway. I guess it wouldn't really be Project Runway, but gluing shit to a bodysuit or a corset is like the biggest no-no. And I'm really trying to remember this queen's name. I think it's Lala Ree. She took basically 50-cent dollar store party bags, like paper party bags, and just haphazardly sort of glued them onto this bodysuit and with what looked like glitter glue. And it was so bad. It was almost like making a statement. Which clearly it wasn't meant to be. It was just like a caricature of what you're not supposed to do for challenges like that on Drag Race. I don't know if anyone here watches Drag Race, or obviously, you know, you guys know what we've been watching, rewatching Community, and I was trying. Oh, I know, this is very funny. So, well, it's not very funny. It's just something that's been happening. You know, they announced the new reboot of Sex and the City. I know that Sex and the City, people have their feelings, their thoughts. I know that parts of it hold up great, parts of it don't. I know that there was all the BTS drama, blah, blah, blah. But for me, Sex and the City, coming from a really small town, really conservative town, really sort of like conservative Christian country, Texas, you know, situation, and really like thinking about like desperately wanting to live in a city and also desperately wanting to have like this independent life and this just amazing apartment and an impeccable fashion sense and all of these things. Like when I discovered Sex and the City, I think I was like a freshman or a sophomore in college, and I binged the whole thing. My roommate had it on DVD, which, thinking back at that time, that was probably a very expensive set. That would be an interesting thing to kind of think about. Like, remember how much people used to invest in things like that? It was like $70 for one season. But she had the whole thing, and man, I watched the shit out of it. Anybody? Sex and the City? Nobody? Okay. Pathos, I don't know. Our internet has been choppy all week. I don't know if it's the fact that there's just a lot more shit around because everything's in boxes and there are 3 of us in this house and we still have 2 animals. If y'all are getting choppy connection, just let me know. Drop it in the chat. But basically, yeah. Okay, is it us? Is it us? Am I de-roboted? Am I not roboted anymore? Can you see me? Knock twice if you can see me or hear me. Am I glitching? I think it's the stream. Is it us? Uh-oh.
All right, I'm coming in with the 3rd chair.
All right, we've got some technical difficulties.
Oh, no. What happened?
Well, everyone said I started getting choppy and robot-y, and that Pathos thought it was his thing, and...
Are we back? I'm getting the green on the kilobytes signal.
Have we returned?
Uh-oh.
Can you see us?
We're dropping.
Can you see us? Can you hear us? Am I... What?
Hello?
What?
Smooth here at the moment. For a second, it was super choppy. Cool.
Well, maybe Twitch was like, you're not allowed to talk about Sex and the City here.
I haven't enjoyed
They're like
that.
hacking to the mainframe. I was just talking about how the reboot was announced, and I was just kind of talking about like why I was interested.
You squealed with joy.
Oh yeah. I was just trying to talk about why it was personal to me when I watched it the first time, and I understand that there are certain aspects of it that certainly won't hold up, and that whatever else. But I've been really enjoying rewatching it with you.
Yeah, me too.
Slowly
it's my
but
first
surely,
time.
we're just sort of like...
I watched the first 2 seasons in high school, so I'm like catching up.
Yeah.
By the way, that little in the bottom corner of our screen there, where it's green, if it's green, we should be smooth sailing. It turns red if the internet connection gets bad.
All right.
But thank you, Glowcat. Great job, nerds. Pathos, Gaming with Smiles, and Pathos once again for the gut check. Y'all, are we ready to get into movie club territory?
Yes, just let me put a bow on this.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
The bow I'm going to put on this is whether or not you think you'll like Sex and the City. Maybe give it a chance. Look, season 1, just like many, many shows, is potentially not going to be your favorite. But once you get into Sex and the City, I got to say it is weirdly bingeable.
It is, and they're half-hour episodes.
Yeah.
Also, definitely has the like Scrubs style narration format. I think that contributes to the. I think that contributes to the bingeableness. Honestly.
Yeah.
It like feels like you're being pulled through.
Also, fashion.
Fashion, yeah.
Ugh, the fashion.
I don't think the acting is super good on this show, but I think the fashion. It's like I don't even think the writing's super great, but I think the scenarios are great. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like I think the scenarios and the fashion keep me going, and then when there is a moment that's like really like deep, it hits harder.
I agree.
I know why it's so famous as it is.
It's very much a product of its time. Movie club.
If only the TMNT cabinet was connected to the internet. I don't know what that could have been. They are releasing an X-Men cab this year that is going to be connected on the internet, so you can play with random strangers to beat the game. That'll be real fun. What?
Whoa!
Whoa!
Oh no.
Hey y'all, welcome to Movie Club. Sorry, you don't have to look at yourself on here.
I'm looking at myself. Can I curse?
You can curse.
Yeah, you can fucking curse all fucking day.
Oh boy.
Are there children?
Couple of sailors. Yo, what is up? We're now in the Movie Club portion of the show, where we pick a movie together and we talk about it. You know that.
Uh-oh.
What? Is it turning red again? Yellow?
We got a green?
We got a green. Thank you. Glowcat says, speaking of swearing, says that Mr. Bunkle shirt is fucking awesome.
Thank you. It was some random Etsy purchase. It's a tank from fucking Thailand. I ordered it in August and didn't get it till December.
Oh really?
I totally forgot that I had ordered it.
I love when that happens.
Yeah, no, it's a great design. It's a surprisingly comfortable shirt. Sometimes those like bootleg shirts can be very uncomfortable, but it fits well, so we got really lucky with that. I just want to say I overheard you guys like 2 hours earlier talking about, by the way, I'm Stephanie Thoreson. I'm taking over officially forever when she's gone, but I heard you guys talking about Smoke, and I mean you mentioned it very briefly. Somebody brought it up, and Smoke used to be one of my favorite fucking films of all time, and I really love the writer of that movie, Paul Auster, who did, hopefully I'm pronouncing his last name right, but he did he's a screenwriter, but he's also a novelist, and he has one of my favorite novels called the New York Trilogy, which is a fucking mindfuck of a meta detective. It's like 3 different stories, and it's so meta, it's insane. It's like, I think there's one story in particular where the detective is aware that he's a detective in a story, and it's like shit like that.
Oh, that's fun.
Ooh.
But he's great. And follow up, if you guys ever seen Blue in the Face, which is kind of a sequel to Smoke, but it's like a weird improvised sort of, not outtakes, but it's same characters, same people they did. And sorry, I'm going off.
No,
this is
welcome.
great.
Well, this is the show.
This is what the show is.
It was directed by Wayne Wang, who is, if you guys are big fans of Wayne Wang, did Made in Manhattan with Jennifer Lopez.
Yes.
But he also, so I had a big obsession with American indies from the 80s and 90s, early 90s, kind of I guess up until Pulp Fiction, which fucking ruined everything. Thank you, Quentin Tarantino. But his first film was called Chan is Missing. If you guys are familiar with that, Chan is Missing is dope. It's really, if you're into sort of Asian American cinema, I would definitely check that one out. I mean, it was 82, I think.
Chan is Missing?
Chan is Missing.
I'm trying to get in the habit of just popping up tabs so that I don't forget things mentioned. Cool.
Yeah, and again, not a groundbreaking, amazing film, but I think I look at it more in the context of, one is people of color doing indie cinema, and two, sort of the context of the time, right? I think that's how you kind of have to approach some of these movies, put it into context of the time, especially like the further you go back with history, right?
That's one of our rules.
Did you know that's one of our rules on the show?
What?
We have very basic rules. It's basically don't judge anything you haven't watched, don't judge someone for having not seen something, disagree politely, and watch old stuff in context.
So I agree with everything except for two.
What is two?
Don't judge.
I don't really know what.
Don't judge someone
for not seeing something.
Yeah. If you haven't seen Fight Club, you could just log off right now.
Get out of here.
Or Boondock Saints. So.
I haven't seen Boondock Saints. I have never seen it.
And anyway, so that's the bit about Smoke. I really, really, really enjoyed that film, and if you haven't seen that film, it's fucking great. It's so good.
Sold.
I remember I met humble brag. I met Giancarlo Esposito one time backstage at the Paramount Theater here in Austin. I used to work at Austin Film Festival, so I was hosting an event with Vince Gilligan, of all people. Very nice man, very tall. Anyway, so Giancarlo was back there, and it was funny because his role in Breaking Bad had just kind of blown up, and I was like, man, I've been on the Giancarlo tip for fucking ever, right? Like, this guy is incredible and has been amazing his whole fucking career. And so everyone's like, oh, you're so amazing as Gus in Breaking Bad. You're so great. And I was like, dude, fucking Smoke, fucking...
I didn't know he was in Smoke.
Night on Earth. Night on Earth, Do the Right Thing. Fuck, what's the other one? School Days. And he's like, oh, yeah, cool. Those are all
That's
great.
Awesome. It blew my mind when I didn't put two and two together. You were way more on that tip. A few things I want to compliment you on. One, I had no idea that he was bugging out until you told me. And then I was like, that's bugging out? I've met him too, but I met him when he came through my line at Whole Foods. Slightly different. I also want to say on the American Indie tip, I feel like I would say you're like the person I know who I would describe as like the expert on American Indies. And one in particular that I think you were way above the curve on was years ago when you worked at Austin Film Society. You booked Damien Chazelle as a Skype interview to present Guy and Madeline on a park bench before Whiplash, right?
Way before. So it was
before
actually
Whiplash, before La La Land.
Cinema 41.
Cinema 41.
Cinema 41 was a repertory film series I had started here in Austin. And the idea behind it was we would screen indies, and a lot of it, I mean, it wasn't specifically American. It just kind of leaned that way because that was my interest at the time. And so we had Damien Chazelle, his first feature, which is a 16mm French New Wave musical kind of thing called Guy and Madeline on a Park Bench, which it's funny because music has always been a big thing. If you're not familiar with him, he was a jazz drummer. And he, I got to interview him and via Skype and everything. And before the Skype interview, a couple days before, we had just kind of chatted, just a one-on-one, me and him. And he was telling me about the short for Whiplash, and he was writing it at the time. Wow. And in my mind, I was like, God, this sounds fucking lame. Like, this sounds so stupid. Like a movie about a drummer. Fuck out of here. And then, but Whiplash is incredible.
I love that.
Yeah, Whiplash is a phenomenal
sports
film.
movie.
It came up last week because we were talking about doing a sports movie week, and we are like, what are sports movies that aren't sports movies? Whiplash.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. Side note on sports movie, I'm a sucker for underdog sports films. Like
Same.
Rudy is incredible.
Rudy came up a lot less. And by the way, Great Job Nerds. Thank you, Great Job Nerds. I was going to point this out. I knew you went with me to that screening. I knew we sat next to each other at your Cinema 41 screening.
Oh.
But Great Job Nerds also made the poster. Great Job Nerds has been neat.
Yeah. That was a long fucking time ago.
It was a long while ago.
It was a very long time ago. But Damien Chazelle was super cool, dude, and obviously very happy for his success and La La Land should have won. But no, I'm just kidding. I actually I'm a huge fan of La La Land.
I remember talking. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I love that movie, and I during quarantine, maybe back in May, I literally just watched Moonlight for the first time.
Really?
So, yeah. Moonlight is really good. Moonlight is really good, and for a lot of reasons, I'm glad it won. I'm glad it won, but I still think my personal favorite is, even though they're totally two different fucking movies.
They're very different.
That's
They're
what I
both
remember.
great.
Like, I remember at the time, you and I both being like, oh, so everyone's comparing these two movies that are nothing alike now because of the snafu, and it became this representation of something. But I don't think it was like a good moment for film criticism to be like, my movie that I'm rooting for makes me a better person than the movie you're rooting for, which is nothing like the movie I'm rooting for.
No, and that sucks that those two movies are amazing on their own merits, right? In their own right, will forever be associated with that moment.
Well, it's also unfortunate that La La Land sort of gets discredited automatically as being like a bad movie.
I don't understand why. It's so fucking good.
It's really wonderful.
Really wonderful.
There is a movie. I know the singing gets chastised a lot, but there's maybe somebody in the chat knows. There's a Steve Martin musical. I think it's called Pennies from Heaven.
Mm-hmm. It is,
right? Yeah, where like they sing like shit in that movie, but that was done on purpose. That was done for a reason, right? They weren't gonna overdub them or have these actors with like amazing voices. I think it's what the Dust Bowl or Great Depression.
I've never seen Pennies from Heaven,
but the idea was to sort of ground it more in reality and just have their singing voices as is, right, and not try to like gush it up or whatever. And so I kind of feel like he might have pulled that for La La Land, because I don't think they're the best singers, but like I don't think they need to be. I think it just works. They're
not the best singers or the best dancers, but their characters are in love with music, and that's how they express themselves. So like it should supersede it. It should be like, well, some of us aren't the best communicators, but isn't that it all represents?
Dude,
I'm a big fan of both.
I saw La La Land with an ex. We were in LA and the weekend it came out, and so that just adds another layer. And I mean, both of us, were like blown away. Like, holy shit! I did not expect to love this movie that.
Were they an ex when you saw it with them?
No.
I was gonna say, because that would add another layer, because
Yeah.
it's like a conscious uncoupling in that movie.
You guys know them, and so or know who it is, but she.
We're going red. Hold on. Okay. We pause for technical. We're back. Okay.
No, but she's like a person. I don't think that suffers silly. I don't know how to say this without offending your audience, but like. I don't know. Is a very, very strong person of color, and like a movie like that would not be in their sort of wheelhouse that they would like, right? For a lot of reasons. But it worked, and we both connected with it very, very strongly. And again, I'm sure it was. I think being in LA when that movie came out also kind of helped a lot too.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways. Sorry, I feel like I rambled and took over your whole...
No, you didn't.
That's exactly what this show is, first
You're
of
right,
all.
yeah.
And also, I love how La La Land explores what it really means to be in a relationship when you're both artists. Like, it's...
No, it's great. It really fucked me up.
Yeah.
It's a hard
wept
movie.
when I saw that in theaters.
But maybe you're right, though, right? Maybe it's like you... Because the three of us are artists, we're better than you. And so I think, I think if, and I'm curious if for people who aren't necessarily artists, whatever the fuck that means, if it didn't resonate with you as much, because it definitely resonated with me, and I'm sure obviously resonated with you. Because we know what that feels like, right? And then that struggle feels like, and I've all probably individually gone through that.
It is very tough to reconcile the creating with the relationship, but I think it's not just artists, it's any pull, and that's honestly why I like that movie, is because while they are artists, their art is the natural extension of their life, so it doesn't really matter. It's like where they're going. And by the way, I also don't think you're going to offend anyone in the chat. Pathos did say wowie, but I don't know what that's in reference to because we have quite the lag going on.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, I think that movie just works because it is about sacrificing something. You know, honestly, you could compare that plot to. Do you watch Schitt's Creek?
No, I like comedy, dude.
Schitt's Creek's fantastic.
No.
I like funny. I like stuff that's funny.
No.
Okay, well, you need to watch that. There's a very similar.
I've never seen an episode.
I don't want to give anything away. Schitt's Creek is fantastic. There's a plot on Schitt's Creek that wraps up on a very similar note of just like people who want to be together but can't because they have to follow what their paths are. And that's tragic. I don't even think it's just being an artist. I think Damien Chazelle's coming from there. But I think the reason that movie was so successful and popular is because anyone can see themselves in that. And also, we can get into the whole, like, everyone's an artist. We all create meaning in our own ways.
No, for sure. And I mean, it doesn't even have to apply specifically to art, right? It could apply to a million other fucking professions. I think that struggle, and I don't want to say lack of compromise, but, like, when you know, like, this is my path. This is your path. We love each other, but this is not going to work.
You know that even if you can make it work for some amount of time, eventually, you know, in the long term, it's going to crumble.
It's going to crumble, or somebody's going to have to compromise. Resentment, exactly, 100%. And so, that movie just, I love it. I love it so much.
Yeah, it's great. I definitely want to rewatch that.
I do too. We need to get to talking about our movie club pick.
Oh, yes.
But one thing I just want to say, that was actually a perfect introduction because that is what the show is us waxing on movies. Like, this is going to be great. So Ryan is going to join us next week. And then when Stephanie's gone, we will be co-hosts.
I know. It'll be fun.
It'll be really fun. So...
just see myself out.
Oh, you're doing a bit. I thought you were like reaching for something.
I thought you were gonna throw up.
I thought you got. Yeah, I was
I
like,
had too
what
much
happened?
Firewell.
It's amazing.
No, I gotta say, Stephanie, like, I'm so happy to be taking over your spot.
I hate you so much.
Stephanie's gonna zoom in.
Think Adam's moving to LA.
It's just a trick.
It's a trick to get me on your.
We're gonna live La La Land.
Yeah.
We're gonna go to LA together and then break up because our careers take us in different places. But we won't ever stop doing this stream, even if we break up. We promise. We made that agreement just now.
I think you should be looking at me.
I'm so sorry, Stephanie. Let's talk about.
Wait, real quick before we just.
I'm grabbing another beer.
Just because we were talking about. Well, you're trapped. Haha.
I am.
Just because we were talking about Moonlight, did I ever talk about on the stream when I saw Moonlight in theaters?
No.
I saw Moonlight in theaters. I'm just checking this because I see where. Okay. I saw it in theaters by myself. It was when it first came out, so the place was packed. The only seat they had was right against the wall, so it was like me, smushed against the wall, little tiny seats. And the guy who sat next to me ordered like a burger with fries.
Oh, you have told me this story.
Did I tell you this?
Yeah.
Okay, look, you don't want to go down that road.
Maybe I do. I'm trying to get us to the La La Land plot points, okay? First fight, let's go.
He took the entire movie to eat this burger and fries, but he was like on and off crying. And when I say crying during the movie, I mean like weeping.
No.
He was like bawling, and then he would like pick up his, how at Draft House they have like those plates that are like bowls too, or they're like discs or whatever. He would pick it up and like hold it and be like like so loud,
Oh, no.
and then he would be like and then like put it back.
Aww.
and then like 10 minutes later would like
I know we gotta get to this.
Look, I'm not, this is not mean-spirited at all.
No, I mean
it was just such an interesting way to watch that.
It's funny because the structure of that movie is not what I expected it to be. Because like when I say like I really did not read anything about it, or to be honest, really give a shit about it, because for whatever reason or another, maybe it's just where my headspace was. But I'm really happy I saw it, and obviously deserves all the accolades. I had a very similar experience. I know I got to get to this thing, but so I used to work at a film festival that shall not be named because it was a terrible experience. But Adam knows, and I was living with Adam when I worked at this place. And I but one of the cool things was I got to travel a lot to other film festivals, and I went to TIFF, Toronto International Film Festival, in Toronto, Canada. And
we have a smart audience, right?
No, so we and please in the chat stop me. I don't want to like mansplain anything, but kind of the way festivals are set up is they'll do industry screenings in the morning. So they're technically not premieres, right? It's mostly for like journalists or reviewers or critics or whatever. And so it's very common to see in those screenings people with their iPads out or cell phones out because they're taking notes, right? When I saw would technically before the world premiere, I saw 12 Years a Slave in this huge fucking theater in Toronto, Canada.
In Canada.
I mean, I think it was like 1,500 seats or something. It was insane, right? It was full of journalists. And it was quiet, except for just these sniffles. You would just hear throughout the theater. The woman next to me was sobbing and crying her eyes out. But yeah, it was insane because those press and industry screenings, I feel like they're not raucous, but it's like, you know, people are talking or whispering. You know, they're like,
right,
and that's okay, right? That's not frowned upon because it's not the world premiere. It's not the big gala event with the red carpet and everything.
People were breaking the decorum to react because they were so taken.
Oh yeah, I mean it was. I've seen that movie once. I've never watched that movie again.
I didn't like. I was coming in from Shame, which is one of my favorite movies. It was actually a staff pick on here a few weeks ago. I love Shame. I think Steve McQueen is a genius. I thought 12 Years. I didn't like 12 Years a Slave as much, and I think part of it is like this is so stupid, but the CGI'd eye that they put on Lupita Nyong'o's character took me out of that whole movie. It was so weird. The whole thing is so grounded. It was her eye and Brad Pitt, and I felt like I was watching a movie. Whereas his other movies are so grounded. I don't know what it is.
I think I get the Brad Pitt thing. Almost felt like, you know what, I'm producing this movie, so let me come in.
I get it.
With a cape. And
I think that if Brad Pitt's from the beginning of the movie, I'm gonna accept him as part of the reality. But if you cameo him 2 hours into your movie, I'm gonna feel like I'm watching a movie and Brad Pitt just walking.
You know, and it's funny that you say that. I just had this thought right now. It would have been interesting to cast like, because you know that really happened.
Mm-hmm.
But it would have been interesting. But the fact that like a person with that level of celebrity is that character, I think sucks the power away from Chiwetel's I forget his name in the film, but Chiwetel's like character, right? Because you're like, oh, it's fucking Brad Pitt, right? That kind of celebrity power. So it would have been interesting to have like a sort of no-name actor.
I think that's
play that part to be like cool, like.
I'm shaking my head. I haven't seen this movie. I'm like,
But yeah, but you know, I can't think. I know there's a million fucking examples. Which I want to have. You know, where you're like, I'm not watching a movie. I'm watching Denzel Washington. Denzel Washington, and I'm like not invested because you literally kind of stealing the energy from everything because of who you are, right? Because you're so fucking big and super famous.
Because our brains associate it with something that's not within the diegesis of the movie, and it takes us out, forces us to recognize that we're seeing this star. Whereas maybe from the beginning, if it's there, you're just gonna accept it and it'll be part of it.
But you know what? It did really work. I mean, maybe that's kind of a mistake, but I really loved him and Leonardo DiCaprio and Tarantino's.
Oh yeah, I mean they're like they're playing movie stars and they're there from the beginning.
Yeah.
Real quick, I love Brad Pitt. That's not a dig on that, and I love Steve McQueen. I think that movie just would have hit harder.
I need to take a gaming break. A quick gaming break.
What a gaming break?
A bathroom break.
Oh, okay. I'll grab me one small beers.
Oh, I'm sorry. I feel like I'm hijacking your thing.
No, you're fine. Once Stephanie gets back, we're gonna hop into Grandma's Boy chat. Where you at? Pathos saw Spider-Man Homecoming alone in theaters, and it was amazing. I love seeing movies alone in theater. Infinity War with two sloppy people. I think we talked about it on the show. We had the worst experience seeing Endgame in theaters. I had a guy on my right who was eating loudly and chatting the whole time. He said, "I am Iron Man" before Tony said it because he predicted it and ruined the moment. And then the girl on the left of us, and he said one other thing in the movie, and it was tacos, when the tacos showed up. This guy next to me, and I thought that was funny. And then at the end, when Thanos says, "I'm inevitable," and this guy next to me goes, I was like, oh, fuck you. That was a moment 10 years in the making for your boy right here. You asshole. I'm so mad.
That sucks, man. Endgame is fucking awesome.
Endgame is amazing.
I had a really good... I love seeing movies by myself, or, did before COVID.
Actually, Pathos, the cheapo theater where you saw Homecoming got converted into a bistro to mimic the Draft House. Yeah, to be honest, I don't even know if I want to say this. I don't love the Draft House because I don't feel like it's a movie theater. I feel like it is an experience. I really prefer in Austin going to the Galaxy Highland or the AFS cinema because people sit and be quiet and watch the movie. At the Draft House, they have 3 million announcements before the movie about how we're going to all be quiet and we're all going to respect the movie. Then the entire movie, there's restaurant service happening around you.
Dude, and Pathos, I don't know if you feel this way, but to get on this sort of classism high horse, it's like you go to movies to escape, right? And you would think that they would make movies cheap to allow people that experience, just let me escape this fucked up reality for a second, for 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever. The Draft House, you walk out of there as a single dude by himself, seeing a movie and eats and pays tickets, like $45 fucking dollars.
$50, dude.
You know what I'm saying? And that's just me. And it's like, and that fucking sucks. And I don't know. And it and not to dog it or anything, because it is an experience and it is fun and it's something very specific to Austin and that's cool. And they do, or at least they did, have really good programming, show a lot of really cool shit.
Back in the day we're going to sound like hipsters who are like their earlier work was better, but back in the day with Terror Tuesdays and Weird Wednesdays, they used to program Zach and Lars programmed really cool deep cut stuff. Honestly, Glowcat would have been an incredible programmer. Glowcat, I feel like Zach from the Alamo would have been incredible at that. And then eventually it started becoming what I call dorm room movies, which are not bad movies, but they're movies that they're the top 10 selling dorm room posters. You got your Back to the Future, your Ghostbusters. We love those movies. Those movies are great, but it's not why I was going to Alamo to see those. Great job, nerds. Absolutely defends on that. Gaming with Smiles. I totally agree. I think that it is an effort to get butts in seats and get people out of the house. And being all alone is wonderful. Talking in a theater does suck. I'm trying to catch up on the chat. Village staff was old school. If you were quiet and put your card up. Yes, I agree. The Village Inn, that was the best one.
The best one, for sure.
And Ryan, real quick, because we are 9:35, I do want to get to Grandma's Boy.
We will.
So y'all...
I think we're avoiding it for a reason.
Cue up your thoughts on Grandma's Boy. But I want to say the last movie I saw in theater before pandemic was Bad Boys 3 with you.
Oh, man, that was such a dope...
that was
huge fans of Bad Boys. Legit, sincerely, I am a fucking stan for Will Smith. I think he's phenomenal and one of America's greatest treasures.
Which last week we talked about how is Will Smith a genre.
We got into talking about how Will Smith became a genre briefly for about 5 years, where a Will Smith movie could be talked about as you would talk about a noir movie.
Oh, absolutely! I love that. And I'm bummed even though it would have changed the dynamic of the film. I'm bummed he didn't do Django. I would have loved to have seen his interpretation.
It would have changed the dynamic, but I mean, Tarantino directing Will Smith. I feel Tarantino gets people to forget they're a movie star and reinvent and become an actor again. And I would have loved to see that.
I think he would have killed it. I think he's a legit good actor.
He is.
I think he's fucking great.
He just wants to control things too much. So if he wants to get into pathos, not you, the emotion. If Will Smith wants to do pathos, he's going to produce himself in pursuit of happiness, and he's going to overdo it. And if he wants to do intensity, but I gotta say, I think my favorite Will Smith performance moment of the past 20 years is him killing his dog in I Am Legend. I think that 30 seconds is some of the best facial acting.
Oof.
In period.
That movie, the first half of that movie with just him and the dog is awesome. Mm-hmm. When the kid and the woman come in,
you're like, I'm over it.
They're trying to. It's Omega Man, and they're trying to do it, but
wait, that movie's been remade. What? There's Omega Man. There's I Am Legend. There's what's the one with Vincent Price?
Last Man on Earth.
Last Man on Earth.
That's my favorite. Last Man on Earth is really close to the book, because the point of the book, I Am Legend, the reason he's the legend is because the twist. Speaking of our bait and switch and the twist of the Ray Bradbury short, it's Ray Bradbury, right? No, it's Richard Matheson. The twist of the Richard Matheson novel, I Am Legend, is that the whole time this guy's fighting vampires, and at the end he realizes that he's been the monster killing children and women while they sleep, and that he's the monster, he's the legend, hence the title. And I Am Legend's alternate ending on the Blu-ray goes there and actually makes the movie way better. But Omega Man, and Omega Man explores it, but like none of the movies, there's a concept with like biblical reading that I forget. We have a mutual friend who's in seminary, and he introduced me to this idea of like how modern like American right-wing Christians read the Bible as though they're Jesus, not as though they're the Pharisees, and how we have a really hard time reading stories and seeing the message when we're the person doing the wrong thing. And I Am Legend is all about that. So when you cast Will Smith in it, you have an opportunity to flip the audience on their heads, but then you get millions of dollars, you're afraid of losing, you don't do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Grandma's Boy.
I
Grandma's
giggled
Boy.
I wasn't giggling at you.
Oh, you know what? Do you want to hit the laugh button for Stephanie? My wife! It's killing. It kills.
It's so funny.
My wife! Okay, Pathos, Grandma's Boy, not a great movie, but a fun stoner style. Legit felt like a person who loves video games, wrote the characters, but had no idea what the actual video game creation process was like. I would say, or knew what characters or writing was like. Yeah, I agree. It's super fun, has great quotable moments, does feel Happy Madison, a bit fresher. However, they had no idea about the actual industry. This was my first time watching it. We actually got into a talk about nostalgia versus modern. I will say, I tried to have some Grandpa's lettuce to be on the level for this movie. But
Mama's 96
but I giggled. I think I giggled. We watched it together.
Yeah.
I giggled more than I giggled more than y'all did. I loved.
I did this twice.
I liked Nick Swardson's line reads because of his softness. G-Boy, not good. Mostly bad jokes and some good. Look, the reason that I thought this was interesting to compare this to Anchorman, Iron Man. Compare this to Anchorman is because they're 2 years apart, 2004, 2006. Last episode we were talking about bro stoner Apatow comedy movement, the R-rated comedy, like the dudes who hang out and they're funny because they riff with each other and they smoke weed and they're cool and they got to learn how to grow up a little bit maybe, and then they'll get the girl. That genre. I didn't like Grandma's Boy. I wouldn't like recommend it, but I think there is something to be said for if I had watched this maybe in high school. I think I would have moments of it ingrained that were like quotable, fun moments. The best example I can think of there is Kung Pao Enter the Fist. I watched that a few years ago. It's not very good, but in high school, I thought it was amazing. I thought it was so funny. And I think Grandma's Boy, I agree with what Glowcat's saying. It definitely feels Happy Madison, but it feels like some of the worst aspects of Happy Madison in that it is like the most, and you said this, like the most mediocre white man main character.
Yeah.
I like Alan Covert. I like the way he is on screen. I was charmed by him. I thought he had a cute presence and an everyman presence that I liked watching. I also thought Nick Swardson, I think that era of Nick Swardson, his line reads are very funny. It's just that the script that it's they as people I will watch. I will be charmed by them. I like them. The words they are reading are so steeped in like, they're so steeped in the white mediocre male as default, and everything else is funny for not being that. And I also can't forgive this movie for the way it did my girl Linda Cardellini, because she is introduced with a tracking shot up from her butt, and you don't do that to Linda Cardellini. That's Velma.
More importantly, Freaks and Geeks.
I know.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of the Apatow, but she's also the best Velma. That cast, I came around on. That Scooby-Doo cast. Anyway, sidebar. So I gotta say, the things, I'm just gonna wrap, generally we're past the talking stick here. That was my overall feel, is that this, in comparison to others, especially, it was a hard watch next to Harold and Kumar, because Harold and Kumar was 2 years before this and managed to have so much more of, I think that Grandma's Boy feels more like what stoners are really like, in that they sit around and quote their favorite pop culture and make misogynistic jokes. And I'm not saying stoners are that way. I'm saying bro stoners of this era. I'm not don't worry, stoners of the world. I'm not throwing you under the bus. I think that it captures that, but I do think Grandma's Boy is more about like we're sitting around and we're making jokes with each other. And then I think you have something like Apatow that does that, but has professional comedians doing it, and they're very funny because Paul Rudd's doing it. And then you have something like Harold and Kumar, which is not what stoners are actually like, but what they think they're like, and that's why it's funny. That's why Harold and Kumar is such a fantastic stoner comedy, is because it's almost like weirdly aspirational. Like, you and your friends watch it and you believe in like friendship and love and adventures and, oh, we're getting high and having fun. Whereas Grandma's Boy very much felt like we're getting high and being kind of miserable and making dick jokes constantly, and that's what we do.
So what was the name of that film that kind of killed the 70s golden era? Was it Heaven's Gate? No. What was it? You know, when all the studios gave directors full...
Michael Cimino's Heaven's Gate?
What was the one that, like...
Ishtar? I think it's Heaven's Gate.
Was it Heaven's Gate? I think it was the one where basically like, holy shit, we gave you so much money, you made this, and we're broke, so now we're going to... I don't know if it's called
Heaven's Gate's a cult. What's the...
It might have been Heaven's Gate.
No, it's not. I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about, though? Right? It's like 6 hours long. And
this is 5.5-hour Western drama, Heaven's Gate 1980, right here.
That might have been it.
Chris Christopherson, Michael Cimino. This is it. It is Heaven's Gate.
So that's what Grandma's Boy is, right? It killed the bro stoner comedy
amazing
genre, right? I fucking hate that movie, and for a lot of reasons. And kudos to you if you think it's dope. Like, obviously, I'm not here to judge, just my personal opinion. There's just something about a film with mediocre white men that's not even funny, that's not well written, that's nothing. It's just like empty. It's like you're just eating empty calories, right? It's like, what do I get out of this? But fuck, they got it made, right? Think about all the really talented artists of color who might have had a similar script that just don't get their shit made because they're not mediocre white men. Think a lot about that. And the ramifications of watching, like, especially in today's context, or the context over the past, like, fucking, you know, forever in America, with, like, those stoner comedies and how it like, if this were a black person doing the same kind of hijinks, the kind of trouble that they would be in. Right. Versus this boring ass white dude who is doing this stuff and it's like getting away with it, and he's just like, what the fuck, man. Anyways, all that to say, I fucking hate that movie. But I saw it when it came out and I fell asleep last night. So there's my take on it. But things like Harold and Kumar, but even like the Judd Apatow stuff, I love the Judd Apatow stuff because there's substance.
Well, we were saying last night, it's not just like the plot points are similar. But not only is the Judd Apatow stuff is characters mostly laughing at themselves and at each other, and it feels like real, like when real like bros hang out, I feel like they're giving each other playful shit, and the funness is that. And Judd Apatow invites us into that. He lets us see Jason Segel and Paul Rudd make fun of each other, and we feel like we're friends with them, and it feels charming. This didn't feel like these guys. This felt like these guys made fun of each other but didn't have any jokes, and so they started just making fun of other people. Yeah. Or weren't like them. And also, just like to your point about the other things that could have been made, I mean, I want our movie club picks to be black filmmakers through the month. If you want to talk about a black stoner comedy, it's Friday, and it's fucking fantastic.
But I do have another one, though.
What? How High?
No.
I've never seen How High. What's the other one?
Newlyweds.
Newlyweds?
Ooh. Yeah.
Is that, how new is that?
2011, I think.
All right.
Shaka King, something King. He's a Brooklyn filmmaker. 2013.
Ooh, fun.
Let's watch this.
Newlyweds. Newlyweds is a black Shaka King. Yeah.
Awesome. Real quick, scrolling on the chat. Pathos loves How High. My friends loved How High in high school. I never really got into it. I do want to say, great job, nerds. I did giggle. I also giggled at the Robo voice a fair amount. The thing is, though, like, again, the actors in this movie, I feel like, are solid comedians, but they're not, if you want to talk about Anchorman, they're not Will Ferrell and Paul Rudd. Yeah. Maybe, but even that, it's the script. They're like getting it. The robot voice is funny, but then the last thing he says in the movie is to Linda Cardellini. He's like, "Please let me sit on your face." And it's like, you had a funny idea of a nerd who kind of Gollum talks to themselves with their nerd voice. Then you make him say something like that. You make him so despicable. But then the audience, I don't think, is intended to think he's despicable.
And this is where it gets interesting with the context thing, right? This is where I think we walk a fine line as film nerds and aficionados is what is forgivable? You know, right? We're looking at it in terms of 2004's context, right? Before the Me Too movement, before all this stuff. And it's like, is that... Can we successfully watch it and pull ourselves away and not feel grossed out? I could say it. Yes, because I'm a straight cis man, for sure. But I don't know if you had, or if you're just like this. Is
well,
fucked.
We've talked about that before on this show. We've had that moment on this show where we've given something a benefit of the. I think 80s comedies. We've given something a benefit of the doubt and said that was the culture then. But then you can go back to then and you can find the people who were saying fuck this. Yeah. You can find the people who were saying no. And I gotta say, 2006 when this movie came out, I was 20, I think. I was 20 when this movie came out. I was a 20-year-old white straight man. I don't think mediocre, but maybe for some people probably mediocre. But I was a target demo for this. That was a joke. Anyway, I was a target demo for this. I was a 20-year-old white boy. And I loved video games. I wasn't really smoking weed at the time, but I had smoked weed. And I was down for stoner comedies. I loved Harold and Kumar. I'd seen that. I never saw this. But I will say, the reason I never saw it is because the trailer, I wasn't interested in the trailer. And that's the thing with context. You want to go back and say, well, maybe for the culture. I can tell you as the target demographic for this movie, when it came out, I saw the trailer and thought, that looks stupid and punch-downy and kind of racist and gross. Yeah. I'm not into it.
I would remove the word kinda from...
I'm talking about me in 2006.
I will say this.
Whoop, whoop.
I say all of this stuff, and I will follow it up with, I am a huge fan of Freddy Got Fingered. And you want to talk about things totally just out of context and weird and fucked up and just totally like gross and not the best kind of way. Like, it's that movie.
That's Dadaism, though, I think. And like,
dude, someone else brought that up. Is that movie's like an like an avant-garde like piece
That's
of
the New
work.
York Times review.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's an intentional from the filmmaker, but I think, did Tom Green write it? I don't think he directed, but he wrote it, right?
Tom Green, yeah, he did write it. I think the director's really just there to make sure the crew's on time for that movie.
But no, someone I was talking to a couple weeks ago actually brought that up, and that was his first time seeing it, and he was like, I think it's a piece of art, like avant-garde art. And I was like, that's really interesting. I just thought it was a funny movie as a kid. It was just so weird and out there, and I was a big fan of Tom Green at the time, and so I loved it for different reasons, but I've never looked at it that way, in that context.
You read the New York Times review. A.O. Scott gave it a rave review.
Whoa.
It was the only... In fact, the DVD, which I bought the DVD during quarantine, it's probably somewhere in here, the booklet that's inside of it, which is the only books we read here. It's a running gag. The booklet on it is, the outside of it is quotes from every bad review it got, and then inside, wrote and directed it. Dang, nice. Stealing Harvard, saw that in theater with my dad. The inside of it is the full text of the New York Times review, and the outside of it is completely covered in quotes from every other bad review. Because it got like 1% good reviews, and it was A.O. Scott. And A.O. Scott was like, "This is Buñuelian. This is amazing."
That's kind of awesome. That's really funny. No, but I think that, again, go back to what we were talking about earlier, the context thing. You can go back even further, right? To this is always a classic example, Birth of a Nation. And find people that are like, fuck this, namely the NAACP. But they were there, they existed, but even though that was an acceptable form of art at the time, or entertainment rather, and so yeah, but it is interesting to, and it can be hard sometimes to look at certain things within the context of its era and of its time. But that's all the beauty about film, right? It's like we get to track. And I'm going to put all this in the context of American film just because it's the world, and it's just easier to put it in this context where you can track our socio-political ebbs and flows, right? Like, through cinema. And it's so interesting to see it.
Even in stuff like Grandma's Boy.
Well, what? Grandma's Boy is post 9/11, like...
Post 9/11 escapism. redoubling down on like all I need is my friends, nothing means anything, I'm alone in the world, the little guy,
fear of the other,
and the victimization of the white man to himself, to say like everyone's sleeping on my genius. Okay, Stephanie, I want to play the role of moderator and pass it over to you because I'm literally between y'all, and Ryan and I just had a lot to say on this. Yeah. So it was your first time seeing this movie too.
Sure, yeah, it was. I find, well, okay. I don't want to yuck anyone's yum. Right.
Well, and chat, we debated. I just want to put all cards on the table. Look, we love every single person who watches this show. We respect your opinions. We've watched movies you've recommended. We love these discussions. And we finished the movie last night, and Stephanie and I were like, I didn't really like that. I don't know how to bring that up. I don't want to yuck anyone's yum because I didn't think it was that good. But then we also said, well, we just saw it for the first time. Mm-hmm. Everyone else saw it back in the day. So, again, with the context, like, we can't possibly see it the way everyone saw it when it came out. And I can't tell you I wouldn't have liked it when it came out.
Yeah, and I was trying hard to, like, put myself to, one, think about it if I were viewing it through a nostalgic lens. If maybe I would see it differently or look past certain aspects of it. But movies like this make me feel so irritated. And it's very much to Ryan's point of like shit like this just gets churned out because it's this movie to me is just the epitome of mediocre white male straight comedy. And as a comedian who's played with so many men who have just like steamrolled her and like put her into boxes. Yeah, exactly. Where it's like, you know, it's
me.
the hooker, the mom, the dead body,
sometimes
literally.
all three at the same time.
The girlfriend, whatever. But
Acting
also,
challenge.
The thing that's so irritating about it though is that so many men who are comedians, especially like, well, I won't say that. I was going to say especially improv comedians, but so many white straight dudes who are comedians think they are geniuses. And that to me is like, they think that because they have like an outlet, it's the equivalent of having a platform, which to me those two things aren't the same. It's like you don't what are you saying? Like what are you saying? You're saying nothing. You're saying absolutely nothing, but you're getting hundreds of thousands of dollars to say nothing because you think you're funny, because you think it's smart. What is it? Like when the credits rolled, the first credit after this movie is over is the writer's credit. I literally turned to Adam and I said, it took 3 people to write that?
What was it the ampersand, right? The writer ampersand,
or
or
I think it was an and.
They wrote it together, I think. Right, no.
It's the opposite. The
it
word
was and, it was 3 passes.
So 3 passes, and this is like...
Yeah.
It's like, come on. I could write that in my sleep. Like, and also it's so much. This movie is literally, every part of it is the straight male gaze. Every part of it. From the butt tilt up on. It's just
do you think
the
you
sucking
would
of the boobies, like to every...
Do you think... here's a really interesting question for you, Stephanie. Do you think if you were to watch this movie when it came out in 2004, I'm trying to figure out a way to word this. Do you think you would have felt the same, but not felt so empowered to speak out on it?
Absolutely. I think I would have felt more inclined to pretend that I liked it, to avoid seeming like a bitch, and also to seem cool.
You don't want to be the buzzkill.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't want to be the person who's like, I thought it was mean to everybody who's not you.
Yeah, like, I probably would have laughed at that movie. I probably would have been like, I'm one of the boys, you know? Like, I can hang, I can be chill. This won't make me mad.
You're not like other girls.
I'm not like other girls.
Hey, I want to quickly acknowledge the chat. Wedge watched it for the first time about 10 years ago. Was smoking, single, playing video games. Now, and again, I think that is the difference, like Ryan said, between this and Apatow, because you can watch an Apatow movie that is about dudes who smoke weed and hang out and make jokes, and watch it now, and I don't feel sad for them. I feel like, they're fun dudes. I like doing that with my friends.
Well, quickly, on the note of this movie being sad, no one in this film is likable, and no one likes each other.
No one likes each other is a really good point. There's not, and I want to get into that in a second. I want to shout out Smiles for the generous comment on the subject of things that are cringe now. Jack Black's segment on an award show that was a parody of Spider-Man, where instead of becoming Spider-Man, the Spider-Bit turns him gay. This was in 2004. Feeling that was off. Yeah, and that was like, there's a lot of that.
There's so much gay panic around that time.
Gay panic for sure. Like, and that actually is a perfect segue, Smiles. So thank you. And to what you're saying, I just want to merge those two things because I think that with the gay panic and the needing to, I lost my thought.
Well, maybe this will help you. Ryan was mentioning like fear of the other post 9/11 gay panic.
No, I got it. You're right. That too. Yeah. I got it. It's what you were saying last night after we watched. Or was it today? Sometime we were talking about it after we watched it. That this era in comedy, I know what it was. It was that no one likes each other. Mm-hmm. That's a big difference. Judd Apatow movies were about heart, and there's a reason that we got from 40-Year-Old Virgin all the way up to what's Paul Rudd and Jason Segel's big movie that everyone loved is called I Love You Man. I think that's a solid movie. I don't think it's their best, but I think there is something to be said for Anchorman, Talladega Nights, I Love You Man, everything produced by Apatow. These men in these movies love each other. They're best friends. They would die for each other. They get mad, but they figure it out. This movie, no one likes each other. And I think what we were talking about is how so many comedies from this generation trained us not to feel our feelings as men. Mm-hmm. And trained us not to express what we feel. I think that's the big difference. Like, obviously there's a lot of like just talent in terms of joke writing, punching down, like white-centered bullshit in the writing. But a huge part of it is that men in the comedies that work are okay with liking each other and loving each other and being buds. And in this movie, they can't do that because it weakens or cheapens or makes them gay. So they have to constantly be ripping on each other because that's how they bond.
Talking about in the kitchen, like last night, or yesterday afternoon.
Which one?
We were talking about a movie, and I was like,
we were talking about this. We were talking about men not being able to feel. It was a 90s comedy, I think. It was like a movie where guys said something nice to each other and then immediately had to qualify it.
Or they turned into something else, or they were punished in some way.
Ah, shit.
Like not directly punished, but like the subtext was that they were being punished.
No, but
very sensitive.
Wedge, I feel you on that, Wedge.
With Gaming with Smiles, it's funny when you go back and look at that kind of stuff, and you, to be honest, 2004, I was 17 years old, like. I probably would have found that funny, which is like super fucked up, right? Thankfully, 17 years later, like I have grown and matured and had life experiences and have had friends of all different types of sexual orientations or persuasions or whatever, or not. And so I think it's like it's fucked up how even little things like that condition you to think that like, oh yeah, like even if you're not fully consciously aware, it's like, oh, yeah, being gay is bad, like, or very, very
bad at the worst, but funny at the most.
Yeah, funny. You are, it's a joke. And a lot of those comedies, Road Trip, fucking, I can't. I'm again like
even The Hangover has
aging
Dr. F word.
Yeah. That even Can't Hardly Wait. You know, all those like a lot of those teen comedies. Again, fear of.
What's the gay panic moment? Can't Hardly Wait. I kind of wanted to. I love Can't Hardly Wait. I feel inclined to defend it because I think that.
Oh, there's one moment, and it's not like horrible. I love that movie too. It's just this guy is like talking to Jennifer. It's not Jennifer. Is it Jennifer Love Hewitt?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's Trent McNeely, and no, not Trent McNeely. That's the guy from Sliders. It's the jock, the football dude, and he's like, oh, like, you know, like, I think trying to get her back, and she shuts him down, and then there's a beat, and then somebody yells the F word at him.
That's right.
Yeah, but you find that a lot in those films. Like, they just casually, these PG-13 movies, just casually throw it out, right?
Even Bill and Ted. In the first Bill and Ted, they think they died. They think the other one died in the castle. They find each other, and they hug, and the beat is hug, break away, and then they call each other the F word in unison. Yeah. That's the joke.
Yeah.
That's, and I mean, that conditions us, and that
for sure,
and that trains us.
It's fucked because everything is connected, and like it affects everyone. And this era is very much like gay panic, and it's also, we've talked about this before on the stream, this is kind of, you know, the time when I was a young woman and we were being taught that you have to be overtly sexual, you have to sexualize yourself at every cost, at every angle. You have to be thin, your boobs have to be huge. This was like when breast implants were like major, like skinny waist, big butt, big boobs, perfect skin, like you have to be sexy. Show your belly all the time. If your belly's not flat, there's something wrong with you. If your hip bones aren't poking out, there's something wrong with you, because you know you got to wear those jeans that show your butt crack when you bend over and your thong pops out. It's like this. It's like all of this shit is like ingrained in my head, and every woman who is around my age, 100%.
It's just like a level of stress I can't begin to contend with. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I have my own bouts with depression, but like that is like to try to facilitate that every single day, to try to look like that every single day, man. That
exhausting.
Is exhausting. Physically, mentally, like emotionally.
And then the movie, interesting thing is, a movie like Grandma's Boy, Linda Cardellini, like, she sexualizes herself just enough. She like all the dream women who this guy should not end up with, but the dream women in these movies toe the line. Like Linda Cardellini in this, she takes off her shirt and she almost does a striptease during karaoke, but she doesn't.
But that's the thing, is
but she's contrasted with the hooker girls.
Of course, but the reason she's the main attraction, if you will, the woman that he wants, and that both of them are vying for her attention, is because, okay, guess what? She plays video games. Not only that, she programs video games. She's fucking down. She's like one of the boys. She's not a slut. She doesn't show her boobs. But also, guess what? She's skinny and she's hot and she's blonde. They dyed her hair for that movie. You know what I mean? It's like, she got to tick all the boxes, and
you know,
but
like,
she's not the object.
The blonde thing is funny because that was the first thing you mentioned about her. You were like, I've never seen her.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Real quick with Wedge, I do want to say this movie, I think, thinks it has a big heart. And that's almost the weird thing, going back to what you're saying about the context. Because this movie had moments, you guys heard me, there were moments in this movie where I went, aw, the stuff with the grandma is earnestly sweet.
Look, the stuff with the grandma is sweet, and her friends, actually, they are the only likable characters, but they are called out for being old constantly.
Well, you say that, but if we were to take those characters and put them in today's context, I guarantee you they'd be storming the Capitol. The grandmother and those friends. Right. So,
that is the kind of context overstepping. You just, where does that guarantee? How are you guys? I
guarantee you they'd be storming the Capitol. I guarantee you they'd be watching Fox News instead of the Antique Roadshow.
Yeah. Okay. Well, this is a movie in which they love Antique Roadshow. Just let these characters be the one good thing about this. The one pure thing about this movie. I just want to say the black man in the movie who is. Speaks a foreign language. He's from Africa. I feel like they're trying to make a joke because he speaks English at first, and it's like, first of all, he speaks Swahili, then he speaks English, then he speaks French, and then he speaks Japanese. And I thought they were trying almost to be like, hey, don't stereotype. This guy actually knows every world language.
Yeah, but
they do it. I'm not defending. No, you gotta let me finish my thought, because otherwise I just I'm just standing on a precipice.
Okay.
What I'm saying is they think that they're like inverting the joke, and maybe for the time they are inverting it for their social circle, for Happy Madison, but ultimately it still is played as a joke. He's not a character, he's a joke. So even when they try and say like, let's flip the script on the stereotype, they still have neglected to make him a character. He's still just a prop for the main character. That's my point. And the wholesome stuff with the grandmas, same thing. They're wholesome characters. We like them because they seem genuinely sweet, but the movie doesn't give them the screen time they deserve. They are still used as a prop to be sex jokes for our main character.
Yeah, and just like no one is really likable or likes each other, or, you know, that's very rare, uncommon in these films. It's also, everyone is like a caricature or an exaggerated version or some kind of like stereotype or whatever. But to speak to your point, in the same way that like this mediocre, middle of the road, white, straight comedy guy thinks he's a genius at jokes, he also thinks, I'm gonna pat myself on the back, you know? I'm gonna pat myself on the back because like that was progressive.
Oh yeah, I get you.
Or like, you know, I said something. It's like, no, you didn't.
You know this.
I think the joke is even more nefarious than that. Like I think it's like, to me, the bit is, look, this savage from Africa. Look, he can speak other languages, right? Like, look, he's not just a fucking.
Like it's a spectacle.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's where that's coming from.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest, and I think that's the bit, right? It's that you would never expect a man like this to be able to speak these kinds of languages.
Yeah, I agree with it, and I think that that's the thing,
That's a
is
really
that
good
it's they either think like, oh, I'm so clever, oh, I'm so funny, oh, I'm saying something different, when it's just like more of the same bullshit. I don't know. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's the nature of the show, and God knows I talk enough on this show. That's a really good point. I think I agree with you. I think I'm still, that's my bias. I'm still trying to be like, maybe they have their heart in the right place, but I think that I need to realize that if it was me at 20 years old when this movie first came out, seeing these guys, if I knew these guys when I was 20, I would think they were douchebags. And I think, ironically, the context piece of me going back is making me try to be kinder to them than they deserve. And kinder than I would have been contemporarily with this movie.
But the thing is that it's not,
You're right.
maybe they're not douchebags. Maybe at the end of the day, they're not douchebags, and maybe whatever. The thing is that when you aren't challenged in your life, you have no self-awareness.
Why you?
I just was looking
No,
at
but
it.
it's really, it's so funny you bring that up, because I think there is, and I've heard it a handful of times from white male filmmakers who lament the fact that they can't get things made because they're not gay or trans or whatever, insert blank here. I remember I won a grant from our local film society here. Thank you very much. You can follow me on Twitter. No, this is the second grant I won. I've actually won 3, but anyways. No, so I was at a like a grant recipient party or whatever. And it was great and it was fine. And the person I brought as a date had told me this later. They had overheard this man, because the cool thing is with this is that they invite everyone, right? It's like even if you apply, they invite everyone to come out to this grant party. Is a big inclusive thing, which I really respect the sentiment. You don't have to show up, right? If you don't want to fucking go, if you didn't get it. This guy who didn't get the grant showed up and was just complaining apparently the whole time that he didn't get the grant because, oh, I'm white and I'm straight and blah blah blah, I'm not black, I'm not trans, I'm not queer, I'm not this. So to go to your point, I think now that the playing field is like, hey, there are people that have had to work 15 times as hard as you to get to where they're at. So yeah, they're going to be fucking better than you.
Because they've had to
this
fucking
thing.
prove themselves.
So now you have
10
to,
steps ahead of you every step of the way.
So now you have to work. Like you have to put in the work and like prove yourself. It's not that like, I mean, yeah, I guess the hot trend now is like stories of people of color, but like, I mean, these are very talented people writing awesome stories, right? So it's like,
who have been working for a really, really long time, many of them.
Totally. And so it's like the playing field has just been leveled up, and you have to sort of go with that. You can't just rely on the mediocrity anymore, right? It's like you actually have to put in a little bit of effort. So
y'all reminded me of first of all, I want to say one Adam Sandler comedy from this era that does hold up is Little Nicky. I rewatched it lately. It's great. Second of all, great job, nerds, throwing you some claps and some crowns.
Oh, for me?
For you, yeah. Watch Out, Wedge. Yes, agreed. Also, you couldn't have teed up our movie club selection for next week any better if you wanted to, because I'm reminded of BB. Why did I not know her last name? Beth.
Oh, Araya.
Yeah,
Araya.
yeah.
BB Araya is her pen name for directing, and I remember she spoke before the premiere of her We Are series, which you can see on Issa Rae's YouTube channel. She spoke before it at an event in Austin, and she said, "This is a moment where everyone is interested in black voices. you have to keep it going because it's happened before and it will fall to the wayside again. It has to be fought for. In the sense that you were talking about the playing field being leveled and everyone like basically needing to step their pussy up if they want to compete. What I'm saying is I think it's a fantastic segue into our movie club pick because I want to talk about black filmmakers on the show through February.
Well, so you know how I feel about those people.
Well, if we hit the kind of one of the nadirs of white mediocre comedy, maybe this is all blessing in disguise because personally I'm glad I saw Grandma's Boy. It gave us a lot to talk about. It contextualized the comedy that we're going through.
Yeah, and also
I don't want as the straight white man in sitting here to like dominate this, but I think that it does offer us dominate the conversation, but it does offer us a unique way to kind of dive into what we pick for our movie club picks going forward and say what I'm saying with Beth saying keep this moment going as well as the playing field being level. What do we as film fans and our chat as film fans want to talk about? Because we as an audience have a certain power to say, let's value this shit. Let's talk about it.
Well, that's how it is supposed to work, right? I don't know if this could be used in this context, but the supply and demand, right?
Let's create the demand.
Yeah, it's like we value these. We will put our hard-earned dollars and spend $70 at the Alamo Drafthouse to go see films by people of color, right? And then in turn, the studios see like, oh fuck, this is making a lot of money, right? Let's continue to support these people. But I mean, I think it's like not only what Beth was saying is right, but I also think it kind of needs to go higher too. It's like they need to hire executives of color, but people the ones that are signing the checks, the ones that are like giving out the money, right? It can't just be the one Tyler Perry. It can't be just the one person over here. It's like you need. I mean, I don't know the racial makeup of A24's like executive board or whatever, but it's like.
Have you ever seen Snow?
No, but it's like you need people. You need those sorts of people in that position because they have. I think there are also some times where like they're just. The people signing the checks just don't understand it. Don't understand the context. It's not a movie for them. Therefore, they're not going to give money to it, even though that movie could make them money and
it can't
appeal to a bigger audience of people, right? It's like you need that diversity.
Can't just be white gatekeepers letting people through. It's got to be gatekeepers who share the experiences of the people that are coming through.
Yeah.
Fish rods from the head.
Gaming with Smiles. Yes. It has to just keep going. So on that note.
Yes, we are crawling over
we're
time.
We're doing a long show tonight, which is great.
Yeah.
First of all, I think I'm really fucking excited that you're going to be doing this show.
I talk a lot.
No, you're really good, man. Like, I just like you're you're a great guest. You're going to be a great co-host. I cannot wait to dive into this more.
Brand new co-host, baby.
Brand new. We each get a staff pick. I'm going to go ahead and just throw my staff pick out there because I knew what it was coming in, and you teed me up for it by accident because you were mentioning Birth of a Nation, 15? And there's a copy of that somewhere floating around here because there it is.
I've seen the whole movie a couple times.
I actually never seen Birth of a Nation. I've seen Intolerance. Can the guy in the middle say there's a rat? I don't know. I don't know about that. Oh, I haven't seen Grown Ups. I have no idea. What up, Notorious Stills? Okay, so my pick for based on that is actually the response to that, the contemporary response to it, which is Within Our Gates. So Oscar Michaud. Oscar Michaud was the first black director to put a feature in theaters. Within Our Gates is from 1920, and it was made as a direct response to Birth of a Nation. It tackles a number of issues. It's pre-code. It's incredibly honest. Like, you think of silent films, like I think we have a bias with old movies of looking at them and thinking, oh no, we got a few people
fine.
we
We're
need
getting
to.
trolled now that we're actually talking about shit.
It's okay. Why don't we?
What do you say?
Thank you, Pathos.
Thank you, Pathos.
What is Pathos doing?
Pathos is helping us mod our channel.
Oh.
Yeah. It's okay sometimes when, he's...
Cool. All right, no worries, y'all.
How do these people...
Thank you, Pathos.
Thank you, Pathos.
We deleted them.
I'll tell you after the stream.
Cool. All right, yeah, those are just some dorks. Whatever. 14-year-olds got it. 14-year-olds got a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
Look, we respect your journey through adolescence. We just don't want to deal with it on our show. Moving on. Thank you, Pathos. Okay, Oscar Michaud, prominent, like the pioneer of black silent film. I was turned on to him by a mutual friend of ours. Devin put him on my radar.
Devin is black. I just felt like that was a really important.
We love you, Devin. I was embarrassed that I didn't know this movie, but oh, weird. I thought I blocked them. How are they still messaging? I don't know how this works. Anyway, thank you, Pathos, for helping us out. Within Our Gates. It's a super honest movie. It's basically about trying to fund a school to educate black youth. And along the way, there are stories about like preachers trying to trick people to get their money. There is a sexual assault plot that's pretty real and difficult. It is a fantastic movie. Sorry, I'm distracted, so I'm going to look up at the camera and just say this real quick. Within Our Gates, it is free to watch on Amazon Prime. It's from 1920. It's about an hour and a half long. If you're a fan of silent films, this movie deserves to be regarded alongside it deserves to be regarded alongside Passion of Joan of Arc, alongside Count of Dr. Caligari, alongside all the big ones you think of when you think of silence. It is a fantastic, monumental work that I'm so happy I finally saw. That's my staff pick. Now we each get to do a staff pick, and then we got to decide on a movie club pick. So, chat, if you have any movie club ideas, you let us know.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, Pathos, thank you. I blocked them, and I thought that was a ban. I get it. Okay.
Actually, this is pretty funny.
That's actually really good. Well, they're blocked now, so that's funny because they're he was saying thanks Pathos when I was, which is kind of a legit funny read. And I've seen more movies than you is also kind of legit funny. I'm glad these guys weren't at least throwing out terrible slurs. I am happy you banned them. Thank you, Pathos. But I mean, if anyone makes fun of me for repeating myself, you're accurate.
I think it was more so the dick talk.
No, I know. Fuck
sit
them.
Sit on the dick.
All right.
Gosh, this is tough.
Our show's this is good for our show.
So staff pick. I mean, are you looking for something specifically for, black filmmakers? Is that kind of the theme?
I mean, look, like it's open. I want to. It's weird because I feel like a lot of the times when I'm on social media and people are like, watch these black movies this month, it's always like the ones we think of as important political works. Oh. I want black filmmakers. I want black movies. And like we were talking about earlier, maybe we'll do a Blaxploitation week where we talk about movies that were collaborative, like city set action movies that were marketed to black people.
I'm going to take a hard left here, and because I told you, how I feel about those people. I'm going to take a hard left because we were talking about American indies earlier. And I will recommend, or my staff pick will be one of my favorite of all time. This movie called Living in Oblivion by, oh my God, what is his name? Is it Don DiCello?
I know you're talking Steve Buscemi in that?
Steve Buscemi's in it. Who's the director?
Tom DiCello.
Tom DiCello. So, Tom DiCello was the cinematographer for Stranger Than Paradise, I believe. Jim Jarmusch's first feature. Anyways, he made this movie about an independent film crew making a movie, right? Been done millions of times, but it's so fucking funny. I think it's Peter Dinklage's first movie. He has a small bit in it, and it's so fucking good. It's so funny, and it's so if anyone has ever been involved in filmmaking in any kind of capacity, is so true to form when you're working with a really low budget. I think that it's such a good, I don't know, just depiction of that world. And I'm a fan of those kind of movies because I think it does demystify the process.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that because I do think that for the longest time, again, this is why you get into sort of the racial disparities in film, is that film can be very, or at least when it was film, it can be very classist. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously you had your Oscar shows and like other people doing stuff and putting stuff out there, but like film and even doing film and digital is so really expensive. But
Mm-hmm.
imagine like the process of making a film on 16 or 35 or whatever is really expensive, right? And who can afford that? Not a lot of people of color. And so I'm always a fan, especially growing up as a kid who was really into film. That and there's certain things you believe you can and cannot do because it just seems so foreign to you. The process is so out there because you're kind of taught that you can't go for that, right? And so like films like Living in Oblivion, film like why am I blanking on these things? Maybe even something like 8.5 to a degree, right? It's not as like surreal as 8.5 or whatever, but again, it's like you kind of get a peek behind the scenes, and you're like, oh, like yeah, there are a lot of hands that require to get a film going, the momentum or whatever, but at the same time, you're like, oh, there's nothing like crazy magical about it, right? The idea of movie magic.
Yeah.
Kind of
Demystifying the process.
Yeah. So I Living in Oblivion is my pick. Big fan.
Love that. Stephanie.
Oh man. I hadn't thought about my pick.
You had all week, Stephanie.
Sorry.
I'm just joking. Let's talk about Movie Club. I'm totally joking. Let's talk about Movie Club. Hey, thanks. Great job, nerds. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
You're not leaving early. We're a half hour over.
Oh, you know what?
We're partying.
This, this doesn't fit into like stoner comedies or Black History Month or anything, but Certified Copy has been on my mind.
Certified Copy?
Mm-hmm.
I was Kiarostami.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen Certified Copy? It's amazing. And since we've been talking about reality and seeing yourself in film and the filmmaking creative project, I think your two picks are
kind of what, because that had been on my mind, and I turned around and I thought about what you were talking about. I saw that, and then I was like, and like reality versus kind of your invented self.
Is he the Helsinki dude?
I don't know. It's Taste of Cherry. He's an Iranian filmmaker. I was Kiarostami.
I'm thinking of Aki Kaurismäki.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do know.
Yeah.
Y'all, we need a movie club pick. I would love to pick a movie by a black filmmaker or a black story that we can talk about.
Baby.
Oh yeah, baby.
I don't have anything.
You don't have anything.
No, wait. I mean, like, okay. So there's the. I'm sure you've done it on this channel, right? Like, Do the Right Thing to me is always the go-to because Do the Right Thing is a flawless, perfect film in my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it is so important and so sad that it still holds up today, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that's the easy way out, right? I think there are deeper cuts, but then I also think of like, how easy it is to find these films. Like, I think Killer of Sheep is a good pick. Relatively kind of easy to find. I'm just spitballing here. I don't think it should be that big, but that's just kind of what the first one that kind of pops in my head.
What about Newlyweds?
I think that's on Netflix.
Why don't we make Newlyweds our movie club pick?
From like
Stoner comedy, Black History Month. It checks both boxes. It's we love a good segue pick.
Yeah, let's Newlyweds.
Let's watch Newlyweds. How do y'all feel about that out there in the movie club, gang? Chime in the chat. Oh, look, our viewership just went down to 3.
I think people are going to bed.
They're going to bed. We went late, y'all. As always, let's make it Newlyweds. That sounds fun as hell. And we are going to, as always, drop these on the Instagram. I'm going to take a picture so I don't forget. Boom. And you can follow us at You Are in a Video Store on Instagram, and we will post this.
Yeah, and you can follow me at Flock of Schmeagles.
And you can follow me at Protextor. Sorry, I totally spaced. Wedge, never heard of that. Yeah, we were talking about it a little earlier. It's free to watch on Tubi, and it's on...
I think it's not still on Netflix.
Oh, okay. Free to watch on Tubi, not on Netflix right now.
Oh, boo. It was. Also, the director has a really dope short that came out a few years after this film came out. And this is a really interesting example of somebody that plays all these festivals, gets some accolades, and it doesn't really... The career's not really going anywhere.
This is
right? Whereas these mediocre white guys can do these films and churn it out, and then all of a sudden they're directing Marvel films. Right?
Yeah.
But again, things have changed, obviously, since then. But...
you just made me think with Marvel films, we've been talking about watching Creed. Why don't we make our pick Creed?
Yeah.
Sorry. That was like 3 steps on the train. You were talking about Marvel movies. I'm thinking Ryan Coogler did a Marvel movie. And then I was like, last week we talked about sports movies on the stream. We talked about how much we love the Rocky franchise and how we still haven't seen Creed 2 and we need to watch Creed 2. So why don't we make our staff pick Creed 2 for the week?
I love Creed. I've seen Creed 3 times. I'm happy to rewatch it or watch Creed 2.
I'll tell you a story about Creed after this.
A bad story?
I don't know. We'll see.
Can we watch Creed 2 with the movie club?
I've seen it many times.
We've not seen Creed 2.
Really?
I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't watched it
We
yet.
bought it.
Yeah. No. Creed is fucking great. I'm a sucker for the Rocky movies.
Me
Love
too.
them all except
Same.
for 5.
We're right here.
And so
We talked about last week.
Can I make this the pick? I'm sorry, y'all.
Yeah.
We're super late in the night. I want to wrap the stream up, so I want to pick a movie club pick.
okay.
Creed
2.
Creed 2?
So not Newlyweds.
Well, the only reason is because not everyone has Tubies, and I feel like Creed 2 we can find. That's fine. Well, let's see. Maybe I spoke too soon. I just figured.
It might be on Prime.
Creed 2 is free on Hulu with HBO, and you can rent it on Prime.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so that's easier to find than Tubi. Because Tubi's cool, but I think Pathos might be the only one with Tubi out there.
Pathos, my person.
Look, watch either one of them.
Don't watch 5. Actually, watch. Is it just called Balboa?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Balboa's
Rocky Balboa.
fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, it is.
It's really good. I think my order would be like Creed, Balboa, the first one, Creed 2, and then 2, 3, 4.
Oh, Tubi's free for everyone with no signups needed. Well, then I don't know, y'all. Let's take a poll then. Let's do a poll.
I like Newlyweds a lot, and it's a really interesting film.
I want to watch Newlyweds. Not to say that I won't watch Creed 2 or be happy with that.
Okay,
I just got excited about watching Newlyweds.
Okay. All right, well, that's cool. I think Tubi, for me, it was just like, I don't want to download an app, honestly, but we can do it. We can watch it.
I'm fine either way, because we have Creed 2 in the house.
Okay. So what's our verdict then?
Flip a coin?
Yeah, I think it's 50-50. I think Need's gonna watch Newlyweds though.
We can text him. All right, y'all. There is a poll. We will not vote in it, and we will let y'all decide which. So on the one hand, we got the sports drama Creed 2 from Ryan Coogler. On the other hand, we got Newlyweds, which is a stoner comedy from 2013.
A black stoner comedy.
Which I'm gonna watch both. I'm gonna be real. We're gonna watch both.
Okay. Wedge saying shit ton of Rocky before. Oh, what an exciting journey to watch the Rocky franchise for the first time all the way through sequentially.
Maybe we can do that. Look, it looks like Newlyweds wins plus Vinny Lidleva. So Newlyweds it is. We'll come back and we'll do the Rocky franchise in whole and we'll wrap it up because that does sound quite fun. And my computer over here, my monitor is just about to die. I honestly can't believe it made it 3 hours.
My phone just died. I think this is a sign.
Thank you for tuning in to You Are in a Video Store. I've been one of your hosts, Protextor.
I've been your other host and video store clerk, Stephanie Thoreson.
And I've been your guest host, Stephanie Thoreson.
Hey, that's my name.
Thank you. And you can follow me on Twitter at Straight White Man.
Which is probably an account, now that you mention it.
69.
69. Yeah. Thank you. Seriously, thank you to Ryan Darbonne for joining us tonight. He's going to be back next week. Thank you to Pathos for always having our backs. Thank you for our first trolls, which I think is a really good sign that the show's picking up steam. That's great that we're getting the no boys in here, because it just, I think, goes to show that I feel like that's a sign of growth.
I mean, not for our channel, but for this show.
That's what I'm saying.
They're creeping in.
Definitely subscribe to our Twitch channel here. You get a free subscription with Prime. Thank you to Great Job Nerds who already logged off. Thank you to Watch Out Wedge. Thank you to Pathos. As always, y'all, watch more movies. Black Lives Matter. Wear a mask. Get home safe and good. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video store. Store. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video store. Store. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video store. Store. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video. From Lubitsch to Mamoulian, Kubrick to Leone and Corbucci and Suzuki, these movies take you to New Orleans. We recommend it, yeah. Never pretentious, yeah. It's never ending, yeah. Just where our head is, yeah. It's one Kauai and a Slaughterhouse 5. Those Hollywood nights are Hong Kong on fire. I could watch it all night, press stop and rewind. Watch it again, you're strapped in, ain't no stopping the ride. That's Ginger Rogers the time. Swing down to Broadway and lights. Ishii, Miike, Tarkovsky, Almodovar, Von Sternberg, Dietrich, Garbo, Garfield, Heathcliff with Transformers over on the 80s TV show. You need a hand, we can reach it. Moving silence like Murnau Melly is Mishu. Spending afternoons with Maya, then watch Freddy Got Fingered. It's all love for that silver screen. Now baby, what that TV do? And we here every week too, so don't you touch that dial, bruh. We ain't skipping the previews. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video store. Store. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video store. Store. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video store. Store. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video store. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video store. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video store. You are in a video store. Say you are in a video. You are in a video. You are in a video. Yeah, welcome to the rental shop. Yeah, welcome to the rental shop. Welcome to the rental shop. Yeah, welcome to the rental shop. Yeah, welcome to the rental shop. Say you are in a video. You are in a video. Rent that shit double. Yeah, 2 for 1, baby, on Tuesday night. Got the popcorn, I'm feeling just right. Should we get a couple new releases and a couple old ones? Yeah, no, I think we can get both. We have time. We'll watch them. Yeah, if we don't get around to that one, I'll